to 3794.
Hot rail Amso.
Is that all red on your PCC over? Okay, let me know what you see when you get there, because I might have to flag you over. Okay, thank you. Molly Scott.
That's a 219 clear 71. That's a 219 clear 73. That's a 219 advance approach. Bonito. That's a 219A approach, Sierra. Over.
BNSF Needle said dispatcher and Central, right? BNSF Mojave said dispatcher and Central Radio. Using 2534 is Rosenberger and Ansel sighting.
Hey, Kaz.
There he is.
Okay, I'm gonna need you guys to actually contact CCC for me if you could. Okay, thanks. BNSF Mojave South.
Hello. Hey, last week on the op session, we actually had enough people for a dedicated dispatch. And guess who got randomly chosen? Don't say Maine, you were there. No, it wasn't me, it was Big Red, the first time he attended an op session.
TTC does answering dual radio.
This is Rosenberger and Ansel sighting.
Nice.
794, go ahead, over.
That's funny.
I'm just gonna go throw my my plate in the sink, and we'll get this show on the road.
Alright, copy that. Yeah, I'm showing an issue at that wayside at West Hinkley, so we'll go ahead and open a ticket for it and have a maintainer go out there and take a look at it. You should have a yellow fence on there, and then it should turn to a red. That red fence should clear up for you once you get closer to it. Alright, copy that. And once you come to a stop, you should be able to get a prompt asking you if you're authorized to proceed. If you got good lights in the field, go ahead and select yes or receive, and it should drop that fence for you.
And I guess I can
Go ahead and let me know. Stand by.
turn this down. Oh, and press that button. Oh, I have resisting.
Oh, looks like we have a ULAC back train that spawned. It's 8,000 feet.
Oh boy.
Alright,
Big John should have fun with that.
Go ahead and unmap until you get past that.
So yeah, My hair's a
Prob-
mess.
Should probably check that that's not another AI train that ran into that, because I really hope that's not spawning an 8,000-foot train for it.
If it is, I think there's ways I can change it.
Okay. Because we've had that happen before. We've had like 10,000-foot trains, and we're like, how did it spawn that? And then we'd go look at it. It's like 2 AI trains that have run into each other.
Well, what it is somebody who doesn't know what they're doing has decided to try and run a train, and they've crashed them.
Yeah.
Alright, Chief, good. Router DL29 over.
I just I just inhaled a burger, so I'm like, ooh, my stomach is sideways. Anyways, yeah, we're playing some Run8 tonight, per normal Fridays. We did have Mayan around here somewhere. There he is. He's running that.
We'll have to see if Anya shows up tonight, because last week at the beginning of the op session, somebody played the Easter egg and Anya like twice, and some Anya rage quit.
Yeah, I saw that post, that comment. I'm like, oh boy. Like, here's the thing, right? I have no data that entire weekend, and I was nowhere there's near Wi-Fi, but I would still get the notifications, like the preview of the posts and the comments and stuff. But then I couldn't get Discord to load them.
Ah, right.
And I was like, this is great. I couldn't even bring up like Google Maps to find out like if there's anything interesting around me when I decided to leave that event. And then what ended up happening was like I went to a place that I found had Wi-Fi, and I'm like, oh, I'm on Wi-Fi now.
Oh, well, that's always nice.
Yeah, I ended up going to like McDonald's for lunch, and I'm like, oh, McDonald's has free Wi-Fi? Yes. Let me check my bank account. Let me check my email. Let me check Facebook. Let me do all this shit that, I haven't been able to do for the past 3 days. Since I'm stressing out about like 1.5 billion other things at this event.
Right.
Anyways, yeah, so we're down on the San Bernardino sub add-on right now. The way Run8 add-ons work is pretty cool. At least with the West Coast and with all the routes at least. Well, to an extent. The West Coast routes, as you buy them and you install them, they just attach to the next route. That's a building that's clipped through. Oh, dude, where's Alhambra?
What do you mean?
Like, where exactly on the San Bernardino sub? CP Alhambra, there it is.
CP. Yeah, it's just north of Mission Tower.
Well, you see, I was down in Alhambra a couple weeks ago, and I want to see if the area I was in is there. I might also have to pull up Google Maps on the other screen. Because I know I had to cross train tracks, and I'm like, I kind of want to go and see if I can get any photos, but there was a brick wall in the way.
There is. I've driven a few road trains through there. There's several areas with brick walls on both sides.
All right, I got to go to Google Maps. Yeah, so as soon as we get some more people in here, we'd like to. It's 3 of us so far.
Yeah. Well, last week we had like 7 people in voice chat, and I was like, good enough to do a dedicated dispatcher. I mean, there's 8 people on the server, so I'm like, as long as they communicate with the dispatch through the text chat, I don't care. Which they did somewhat.
Okay, so I found the area on Google Maps.
Which I think Big Red still worked West Colton while he was dispatching.
No, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
Where's that 8,000-foot backlack?
It's currently at Verdamont. It's in between. Well, let me look at it. It's currently in between Baseline and Verdamont on Cone Sub.
Alright,
Oh.
so there's that curve there. And there's then there should be a slight curve there, but there's not. And then that yard there, maybe? Or did I not go far enough down out the Humber sub?
Down crossing is clear. Good for another 30 cars. Over.
30 more, Mr. Lee. 219.
No, wrong button. There we go. Milepost tags, that's what I need. Specifically, Soto Street overpass. Soto Street. Okay, so now I know where I am on Google Maps. So it'd be that building right there. I found it. I found it.
Oh, nice.
I mean, it's obviously not the right building or anything, but that's totally fine. I'm okay with, creative liberties, but I found e-bike.
Cool.
For those unfamiliar, e-bike is one of the largest airsoft stores in the States. Before we get going good, what scale are we utilizing? 120, 1-to-1? Are we in 1-to-1 scale? Then Run8 is probably the first simulator on one.
And is that the brick wall you were talking about?
Well, the train tracks are actually down below there's a brick wall, and then there's actually not buildings right there between the tracks and the road. It was just a brick wall right there.
Oh, okay.
But Run8 is... Okay, so your statement of Run8 is possibly the first train simulator on 1-to-1 scale is not 100% true. But yes, Run8 is on a 1-to-1 scale. Many train simulators, people will build routes. And I've seen people who've built...
on the road.
I've seen people build routes in 1-to-1 scale. Myself, I'm actually building a route 1-to-1 scale in trains. It comes down to how much detail is the content creator going to put into the route. How much effort are they going to go into maintaining that 1-to-1 scale? Some content creators...
Airtable train.
Some content...
Many of those.
Some content creators like to compress things to make it simpler, so that way it's not spending. You're not spending 8 hours driving this route. You're spending 4 hours driving this route. So, but no, I had to find this place on Google Maps because I was there a couple weeks ago, and I was like, I should do that. Close that. I'm gonna refresh this tab. That one I'm gonna leave like that. Diddly diddly do. All right. So we still only have two people in here? Yeah. We'll go find something to do.
No, we have 3.
No, and the thing too is going all out like that on building a route is really, really difficult. Like, I've seen some routes that I really like, but they aren't built like anywhere near to scale, and it's like, I really love this route in the real world, but the scale, it's not correct. I'm going to build it to scale, and then you get, 6 years on into this project, and I've had to restart it twice because it's corrupted. Because once it corrupted itself, or no, the first time I restarted it was because I ended up changing versions of trains, and there were so many issues with trying to import the old route over to the new one, I just gave up. And then the second time, the route actually corrupted itself, and I lost all my work. And it was at that point where I was like, well, I have my backups I can go to or I can go back in. I've learned a lot of new techniques, a lot of new things during this process, and I can start over. And since I know more, I can actually make the full route. Since I was making a 1-to-1 scale version of the route, but I was kind of do it in 3 sections, and I had the middle section was where I was starting. I decided, no, I'm going to restart it, do the full 100% of it, and redo everything using all the information that I know now, and build it to much better standards than what I had already gotten to. The Saginaw subdivision project that's more accurate than Chris Racer's version? Yes, that's the project that I've been working on for about 6 years, and in its current state, it's basically, I took it back to square one, and I decided what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and get all of the track work, all of the main line, all of the industry tracks, and all of the railroad crossings. Those are my number one priority. I want to be able to operate the railroad before I do anything else. Because what had happened is prior, I was building all the track and then going back and doing the grade crossings as I felt, which was coming into problems because I was using ATLS crossings. And the ATLS crossings, while they work really well, they have to be numbered. And what was happening is I'd have one grade crossing right here. This is grade crossing number 15, and right next to it's grade crossing 87. And I'm like, that's not working, because if I have an issue with one of them and I go to search for it, I'm going to have to jump around a lot. So what I'm doing is it's like, all right, here's grade crossing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, so on and so forth. And, and the other problem, too, is when I started that project, I was dedicating, 5-6 hours a day to playing trains, to working on it. Look, we got a coal train running right there. I was dedicating, hours and hours and hours a day to doing this. Like, I would come home from work and just be like, all right, it is time to work on this route. And I'd get home from work at like 8 o'clock at night, and go to bed around 2 in the morning after working on the route from 8 to 2. And then I'd wake up and I'm like, all right, I got 4 hours before I have to go to work. I'll spend 2 hours building this route. And then when I, stopped working at my one job, I had more time to dedicate to that. But then things like Run8 came out, and my focus more shifted towards working in Run8 and everything. And so now it's like I spend maybe 4 hours a month working on the route. Like, I'll go in like tomorrow. I'll have a little bit of free time. Like, yeah, I'll work on a little bit tomorrow. Or, sometime, whatever. But yeah, so we're gonna find something to do here in Run8 right now. We're still down here on the San Bernardino sub. This is the Alhambra corridor. It tends to get tiring when you work yourself to those extremes. It's not healthy and leads to massive. Oh, I've been there. The problem was I wasn't feeling the massive burnout right away. I was actually feeling the opposite of that. I was feeling like I'm dedicating myself to doing this. I'm really enjoying it. I'm having so much fun, and I'm really involved. And, oh yeah, go. But I have to go to bed. I have work in the morning. I have to stop. I can't. And then I'd lay there in bed like, all right, well, I'm having problems with this one grade crossing. What is the problem I'm having? How do I fix it? What do I do? And thinking of all the solutions on how to build it. And then eventually, oh, there it goes. Eventually, like I said, just the multiplayer operations in Run8 sucked me away from trains, and it's just like I just didn't have that drive anymore. And it really hasn't come back much. Let's check on. There's not a whole lot in sitting down here in Barstow, although somebody looks like
there's cars that are being generated by a lot of industries now for, what is it, YLAC 2012 RIP. And last time I checked, that wasn't in the Hump controller. I believe those cars are supposed to go to La Mirada, I think. I mean, it's in Commerce, but I think it's like a La Mirada local that's supposed to work that.
If it's La Mirada yard, then we'll have to tag those cars, what is it, LMA or whatever, or what is?
LMC for La Mirada.
LMC, I'll tag those ones for LMC then.
It would have to be added to the...
to the industry config, yeah. Just put it in a note on Discord and I'll change it. Health and safety burner in one. I tried trains multiplayer once and absolutely.
What,
Train-
just in like the staff chat?
No, put it in Kaz's fix-it
sorry.
list.
I don't see that anywhere.
Oh, because I only have it for me. Hold on, stand by.
Okay. I'm pretty sure it would be La Mirada because that would be what the most sense makes to me because there's a local that works industries over there in commerce that comes out of La Mirada. I know that there is because I've ran that local before.
All right, can you? You should be able to see it now.
Yep, I see it now.
Oh, don't even get me
Have you
started.
been dispatching right now, Yoda?
Don't even get me started on
Yeah, I have. I've been
on
paying
being
super
obsessive
close
with games.
attention, but yeah,
I'm not allowed to play
dispatching
Open TTD just because
I'm,
the last time I played that, I actually would sit there and set an alarm every 4 hours.
Sub just east of East Siberia.
Every like 4 hours, I'd wake up, play the game for 2 hours, and go back to sleep.
Okay, that's fine.
And I would win that game. I'm not allowed to play that game anymore. But the Trains multiplayer, when it first came out, was actually really good.
So that should never get play your trains, sorry.
Dovetail so many rounds. Oh, because you used a content filtering still stopped you from saying fuck. Now, the Trains multiplayer, when it first came out, was really cool, really novel. It worked really well. It had its issues and it had its limitations. And, you know, me and another group of people, we were very loud about having those limitations fixed and things, and it never really worked out. And the Trains multiplayer is still... It's great if you're doing really, really small routes, right? Like, I built a model railroad. I built a version of my N-scale model railroad in Trains, and it works really, really well for multiplayer because you can run that in op session on there. You get 3 people in there, and you can run it and do everything in 2 hours. Because that's how my model railroad was built. You know, it's great for that. But then you get like one of my biggest complaints was you couldn't save your progress. So one day I was playing on UMR. And I must have been in that server for a good 6 hours, switching and building up trains and sending out trains left and right. And then the server crashed. And they had to restart it. And when they restarted it, all 6 hours of my work was gone. And there was no way of fixing it. We used to do that when I hosted MRL. I would spend hours and hours and hours sorting cars in one of the yards and building trains and everything. And then the server would crash or the network or something would happen that would cause us to have to restart the server, and we would lose all of our progress. And that killed all of my interest in Trains multiplayer. So I'm just starting to get real I'm starting to get real pissed with Dovetail. So many routes with issues that need fixing that are being addressed. Fuck Dovetail. Dovetail, I did a whole rant video. You can go back and find one of my old videos called Form Over Function. Dovetail makes really good, pretty-looking models, right? The routes and everything look fantastic, but the functionality of their game engine, the functionality of their physics simulation, and all of that is just garbage. And the lack of any like true operations, like yeah, you can run scenarios, but you have no multiplayer. You have no continuous operations. They don't do dynamic operations. They do static, or they do linear gameplay. It's not dynamic gameplay. I saw that video and what got me looking at them in a new light. That's good. That's good. I'm not here to change people's opinions. I'm just sharing my own. But they have really, really good. So there's 2 different core gameplay mechanics, right? There's linear gameplay, which I think I talked about in the video, which is you start in point A, you go to point B, that's it. Game over. You won. Congratulations. Think of Call of Duty or Halo, where you got to fight through a room of bad guys, get to the other side, push a button, and stop the bomb from blowing up the whole world, right?
It helps if I put the reverser in the forward position.
But then you have games that are more dynamic gameplay. Think of you could sit there and say Grand Theft Auto because it's a big open world. I'm just gonna start running the hump here. Just gonna sit in Barstow and run the hump for a little bit if anyone wants to run the trim. But
I probably would get out in the middle of running the local in LAJ. You could ask In Trains if he wants to. He just joined. He's not doing anything yet.
But like, it has a more open world is more dynamic because then the gameplay doesn't become dictated by the developers. It becomes dictated by you, the player. You have more agency in the game. I don't even know what route I have. Is he in voice chat at least?
No.
Also, why? Don't. He's breaking the rules.
Huh?
N-Trains is breaking the rules.
What?
What's he doing?
He pinged me.
Ah.
So yeah, now I'm just gonna start. Oh man, you can tell it's been a while since I've operated. I forgot to turn on the hump controller. So I'm like, why aren't these cars going? Oh, that's because I forgot to turn on the hump controller. Hey guys, I know what I'm doing. I'm an expert at this. Like a scenario such as you assemble a freight train and you take it out onto the main line. Along the way, you pick up, drop off, pick it up, But that's exactly what you can do. Okay, so you want that scenario? Run8 Studios by Run8. You can do that. I mean, I'm doing that right now. So what I'm doing, and this is one of the things it's really hard to show it in the stream, like without you actually like spending multiple hours playing Run8. What I'm doing is I have all these train cars. I'm going to turn the car tags on. You can see they have different car tags like LMC, RKL, OLY. WAT, WAT, RIC, NI RSW0019 L or I, LHA, right? These are different cars for different industries. I'm about to shove them over the hump yard, and they will be sorted into different cuts.
I want to get the Needles map. I get the Needles map.
They'll be sorted into the different trains, or different tracks. They'll then be built into trains. You'd be in the yard building a freight train as I'm breaking apart. These are trains that have come into the yard. We didn't spawn them here. They drove from, wherever they started from. So, they spawned in right here at this spawn point, drove all of this route, all of Mojave Sub in here into Barstow, and now I'm breaking the train apart, making it into. Somebody tell him to get into voice chat so we can at least yell at him.
Hey Yoda.
Yeah.
Can I be put on the main tube at East Siberia for high priority freight? But I'm looking at the depot map, and apparently the speed limits are higher on main too.
I don't know.
Cross back over at Ash Hill.
But no, so I'm sorting the cars. They're going to go down here into the bowl yard. Someone will then pull them out of the bowl yard, build them into the trains, and either they're going to build them into a local over here, or they're going to stick them over here on these tracks and actually send them out to other yards. Either like San Bernardino, SBD. These cars are going to go to San Bernardino yard. This car right here is going to Needles yard. This car's going to Stockton, California. Like they all have destinations that they're going to go to.
Direction only just past Troy, so. He's like 50 miles out, so.
Oh, my FPS is tanking right now. And then you could take a local, and it's all right, you've got 50 cars. Go out, spot
Well,
these
not
cars at the
quite
industries,
50,
and
more
pick
like
up any
40,
cars that
but
are ready to
he's
pick
a
up.
ways out.
Then come back to
Yeah.
the yard, drop them off in the receiving yard. I sort them again at the hump yard, and then they go back out on another train. So that scenario you say, Jessica, and anyone watching on Twitch, I'm also on YouTube for tonight. So I'm interacting with both chats. If you have questions, comments, I will answer them the best I can. So that scenario, Jessica, on YouTube, you sit there and say, I'd like a scenario such as you assemble a freight train and take it out into the main line. Along the way, you make pickups and drop-offs. Point A to point B can be decent, but gets old fast. You're 100% right. Run8 can do that. You can do all of it. You can do that point A to point B. Like, we got a guy right now who's running he's just running a manifest, right? Because that's what he wants to do. We got other people out there working yards. You know, if we get a couple more people in here, we can get dispatchers going. We can do all kinds of cool stuff with this game. His train tag is none. Does he just have a single locomotive?
I don't know. Hello there.
The only problem with streaming is Discord goes into streamer mode, and I don't see when people hear the notification when people join.
Yeah, I was running that when I was recording earlier.
I mean, I could turn streamer mode off and probably get them back, but it's like, do I want to? Am I that? How lazy am I here? Where is he?
I don't know where he is either.
BNSS 7223 diverging and clear East Ash Hill.
I want to transport to him and just see where he is.
I'm shoving cars over the hump. I can't really teleport to him.
Yeah, I just did. He is at, he is at, the Taylor crossover. He's just in that, he's in the old SP yard at Taylor.
At Taylor?
Yeah, in the Alhambra sub. Headed
Hey
towards
guys.
Riverbank.
Hi.
You're in like the one yard we never use.
Okay, so whoever asked me where the train is or where I'm at the West Taylor Yard.
It looks like a manifest train.
Yeah, that's the only one of 2 yards that we do not use.
Just curious why stuff's getting in here. Quasi, the sim looks fun. Right now I'm just humping some cars over the hump yard right now. We have a couple other
Yeah, I'm
people
pretty sure
on right
Big
now. You can
Growth
hear them
goes
talking
in
on
just with
Discord.
these
If you got questions, if there's anything you want to see in Run 8, this is kind of running the hump is a little bit slow and boring. But what you don't, because I haven't turned off and my FPS is tanking at the moment because I'm shoving cars and. Ugh.
Well, I do have
How many cars am I actually loading? I am loading
So with the
13,000 rail units right now. Holy fuck.
Trains are, in my case, box cars.
So these cars are
that
actually being
have
sorted
tornado
based on their
passenger
destinations.
engines.
Some of these
Further
cars
those-
are like this car, this hopper car right here is actually going to be going to BNSF Bakersfield Yard. So it's going to go
Yeah,
down
the
there.
track.
It's going to couple up to some other
Yeah,
cars,
it
and then once that track is
depends
full,
on
we'll
what
pull that
passenger
track
train
out,
It is if you're in like
Yeah.
the
and we'll put
LA
that on
station,
a
it depends on
and
what
track-
on a train
passenger
for
train it is
Barstow or
there.
Bakersfield.
Like,
Because I'm in
if
BNSF
it's- and track
Barstow
number-
Yard right now. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you got any questions, if there's anything you want to see, once I get this cut of cars.
Barstow, Needles, and onwards, you could have grabbed like a number 2, headed through the river.
Yuma.
I got quite a few cars, so we're going to show
because
them.
Yeah,
all the
let
engines
let me send you my train tag Google document that I have. It has Amtrak and
I mean, well, I'm
everything on
humping,
there.
so it's easy for me to just close in and out of it. Can I
because
explain the whole
all
dispatch
the
map thing to you?
passenger engines are
So,
facing towards
what
the dead end side and not
the dispatch
other
board,
side of
the
train.
in-game dispatch board is the one I'm going to be referring to tonight.
Yeah, you'll need to back it out and run the Y really quick. Just take the entire train out of the Union Station and run it through that Y at the river and back in.
So,
Okay.
well, there's also an Amtrak train in Barstow that you could take. Oh, never mind. That one's already been driven. I mean, you can also come down here and work the trim, but that's next level stuff. So, I'm just gonna
bypass because I'm in no mood to break couplers.
Well, that's why you run in Piglet mode and you don't break couplers.
And that's what my game was set in by default.
And then I don't know how you're breaking couplers in Piglet mode.
I think you can break couplers in Piglet mode, just not as easily, if I remember correctly.
I don't remember.
I think that's what it is. I don't know.
So the dispatch board is actually you kind of have to know the route and you have to know how to read the board, but it reads like a book, right? Imagine this is a sentence, right? This is the beginning of the sentence, this is the end of the sentence, this is the next sentence.
So for the
so you would read it
train
from
symbols,
left to right,
if you look at the
top
Run8 info
to bottom.
channel,
So train starting here is going to go this way. And actually, because of the way he's set up, it's going to go this way, down this track. Then when it gets to here, he's going to reappear over here on the board. Then he's going to continue going along this route. And because the way these switches are set right now, I'm going to throw this switch to normal.
At the very bottom of the
That
screen,
signal, minimize that. Boom.
Boom.
UP and Amtrak.
Boom. I'm going to go over what these signals here mean in a minute.
So for dispatching, are we just kind of taking care of what we
Well, we're self-dispatching at the moment. If we get a couple more people and we want a dedicated dispatcher, I can grab the dice. So yeah, as I was saying,
I pull out the Amtrak
then they
schedule.
run along here, and then when it gets to here, of course, it reconnects here,
Yep, I'm trying to do
and then along here, and so on until you get to right here, which is Bovis up.
So you
Then
can
you click
tell
the
me
next
if you
one.
need to get out right now.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out
And
which
it actually
Amtrak
connects
train
right
is
here. I don't know
safe
why
to
that
take.
signal's set to lunar.
Any of them should be safe to take if they're an LA Union Station.
Just remember, if you tag it as an Amtrak number 4, which I think was already being run, it's going off Seligman. But if you tag it as an Amtrak number 2, it's going to go through the Alhambra sub and off Yuma.
I was gonna use the whatever tape
So,
right now.
This is where it gets a little confusing, is because you
Yeah,
actually
so
have
it's
two
an
separate
Amtrak-
dispatch boards.
Oh,
So
sorry.
Just
you
look
follow
at
this
the,
line
train
here,
symbols
like I
that
said
they have.
previously,
They're
left to
probably already
right,
ones that
top to bottom.
terminate in,
That connects to here, that goes
terminate
along
in
here,
LA,
then connects
and then
to
just,
here.
use the
But right here at
every-
Mojave in
and
this
then just
box,
replace it with the
it
train symbol that
diverges, it
originates in
separates.
LA.
So right here you see this little letter B.
whoever's dispatching.
That B actually connects down here at the bottom, and then follows
I'm looking at
this
Barstow
path.
right now, and it's just kind of a mess.
But then you have A right here.
Yep.
A connects right here, and continues on this way.
So you're Amtrak 4 in the
And
Barstow
then of course
passing
these connect to the
station, right?
corresponding
Yeah, and
sections.
I'm just looking outside of it. We got a couple trains that were stopped. One still
How
is.
many more cars do I have to shove over? Not that many.
Yep.
I want to, and I'm probably gonna start doing it this summer. I want to make some more very
Okay, that was
easy,
that was
like,
a westbound
5-minute
southwest
tutorial
chief.
videos.
You can either retag it to number 4 for an eastbound chief,
Let me just mute the Discord for a
or
second. What I want to do is make really quick, simple 5-minute jump start videos, as I want to call them. They would basically be a 5-minute long YouTube video explaining, one aspect of Run8, like how to start a locomotive, how to move a locomotive. If you actually go to my YouTube channel, which is Kazakh_Fairwind, is my YouTube. I have a tutorial video on there, but the way it works is the dispatch board. This signal does not actually represent what that light indicates. So this light, it says green, but that light could actually be red. This is just me as a dispatcher telling that signal what. I don't have that set up here. Let me get you a link to my YouTube because I don't have any Twitch commands set up yet. It's one of those things where I'm lazy. I have a massive distaste for bots, so. You'll have to kind of dig through for it, but I do have a tutorial video on how to utilize the dispatch board. It is a little long, but simply put, this signal green just means that the physical signal in the world will display the highest possible indication. So if there's a train sitting right here, this signal on my dispatch board will say green, but in the real world, or not in the real world, but in the in-game world, it would show red. And then as soon as this train leaves this piece of track here and is further down the line, even though the signal still says green, it will advance to a yellow and then a green. However, if my signal is like right here, how this signal is set to yellow, this train is actually going to see a green signal. The yellow indication just means that once he passes this signal, the dispatch board is going to automatically drop that signal to red for me. And that's just normal operations. This signal right here, because it is marked as green, when this train passes it, the signal is marked as fleeted. So the train will pass it, the signal on that location, at that spot in the world, will drop to red. However, that signal on the dispatch board will stay green. So that way, as this train clears through this track and gets out of here, that signal will automatically switch to green. And the reason why we can fleet them is this is a control point. Let's say I had an Amtrak train sitting right here, and he had broke down. Well, now this suddenly becomes a single track section. I need to be able to stop a train right here to get him to go around the Amtrak train through this route. However, because this is double track and I have no real need to stop trains right here all the time, I can leave this signal fleeted and just let everything go. And it makes life much, much easier. Now, if we were doing much more hardcore operations where we didn't have AI trains driving, then definitely having a dispatcher drop that signal and maintain that signal status would be a thing. However, fleeting signals in the real world is something that the real dispatchers do. And if they have 3 trains going down the same section of track in the same direction, they'll just fleet the signals, and the signals will display the highest possible indication. So if the 2 trains get too close, that signal will still be red, but as soon as that first train gets further away, that signal will go to green, or yellow, the next highest it can display, allowing that train to go behind it. It's something that I had to learn a lot about. Yeah, I was doing a lot of streaming of Elite Dangerous for a long time. So, like, all of my good YouTube videos got buried by that. I'm going to unmute Discord now.
I know, but I like to. It's easier if you send it on to main 3 at Daggett. That way, it's not crossing over as many tracks or anything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if somebody's dedicated dispatching, they can do it however the hell they want.
Yeah.
I had to mute Discord for a minute because I was explaining something fairly complex that I didn't want to be talked over. The 5-minute reads just sound cool too. Elite is a great game, can't blame you there. I was actually on the Distant Worlds 2 expedition, and last night we hit Beagle Point. I hit the halfway point. I hit that halfway point. It's like, cool. Now I gotta turn around and go home. So yeah, this is sorting the cars based on their destinations. They'll go, and then we'll get a yard crew on the other end of the bowl tracks and actually pull them out. And my nose is running, so I keep rubbing my nose. I'm going to have to go get a tissue here in a minute. Got 3 more cars. We're going to shove these over, back up the power, and then relinquish it, go get a tissue, maybe refill my beer, and be right back.
Okay, have your signals and switches set to leave the Barstow passenger station, Amtrak 4, but it's probably still red for you since that intermodal train still is left to the block that you get into.
Is that what you just heard there? Is Darth
Looks like
Vader's
we'll be
doing...
passing each other again, Panther.
Yeah.
You're more than welcome to lurk. That's why I stream. I don't care about the viewership. I care about the interactions with people. If you ask a question, I want to hop in there and be on it. So. Oh no, did my... Man, that one... Oh man, I filled up this track here. But, whoop. Yeah, I was saying about those signals. We got an Amtrak train sitting right here. And this train's actually that train's being driven by a player. And he's looking for that signal right there, right? It just upgraded to yellow. But if we look at our dispatch board, we're going to have to go to Barstow. Even though this is yellow, it's actually, it would display a green if we were to wait just a little bit longer. But then this signal right here is set to display green, which is... I'm on the wrong side of it. No, I'm not. I'm on the right side of it. So, yeah, the dispatch board... is showing this signal right here is green. But we can clearly see... Yeah, it's green there. You see, that one is green because I set it to that. Oop, wrong button. We can see it's green here, but because there's a train here, the signal is going to display red until he clears the block. But that signal is, of course, fleeted.
Yeah, Needles is just all double tracks, but I kind of felt like highballing for a little bit tonight.
It's all good, it's all good. I will be back in half a second. I'm gonna go get a tissue. My nose is freaking running.
Okay.
Got myself a tissue. Took some allergy pills. Back in the saddle. All right, let's see what... Oh, wrong button. There we go.
Okay, I'm ready to go over the crossovers.
Okay, let me go and get you lined.
Allergies. Entrance.
Okay, just go ahead and tell me what to the other side of the junction.
Out of the siding.
So here's Entrance. He's running this.
Well, actually, are you facing... Wait, if you're Amtrak 4... Let me see. You're not facing the right direction yet, are you?
He's sitting at the Y. Is he going into the station, or is he going out?
No, he's turning his train around. Because he's facing towards West Taylor right now.
Yeah, I see that. So he's got to go forward through the Y, and then he's backing back into the station.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just gonna sit here and watch this for the stream while I talk about stuff.
Okay.
Let's actually go into the tower. You can't actually go into the tower,
I'm
but...
gonna move over to doing a bit in San Bernardino because we've got trains waiting on the main line to get into the intermodal yard. So I'm gonna leave my...
That train is being driven by a player, although the player's not in the cab. And another player is actually doing the dispatching for him. Quasi, thanks for that subscription. I have like a tier 1 subscription reward thingy, but I really got to work on those stuff. But I'm not at that upper tier of streamer where it's really, you know, the minuscule income from that goes into the upkeep of my computer. My current goal right now is to buy another webcam. Buy a new webcam because my current one is a really, really, really old Xbox 360 webcam. It doesn't have manual focus. Like I have to, like if I'm out of focus, I have to like reach up here and grab and twist a knob, and it's like, ugh, it's just a pain in the dicks. All right, so he's gonna go down there. Once he clears that, he should be clear. Dispatch will throw the switch and throw the signal, and we actually run it. You can actually like you can see the points.
Resource back into the station.
And if we wait just a minute, we should see those points move.
Okay.
Don't forget to give him a lunar. There's the points move. You should have a signal there. And he will be going. I'm just going to pan the camera up a little bit. Too far. And now he's going to back down here until he's somewhere in the station, and then he can go that way across, which is great because I've been on this line. Actually, a couple years ago, I took a train trip and went through L.A. Like, I got on a train in L.A., so. I think one of my...
I agree.
I like how YouTube is like, well, all of this looks like it's West Coast and deserty. You're playing Grand Theft Auto 4. These tracks are incredibly true to life. They are the routes are built 1-to-1 scale. There are many things that are.
I just like calling signals. You don't have to acknowledge me if you don't want to.
There are things that are out of that are a little bit out of proportion. Like some of the yards aren't quite right. Some things are missing. Some areas aren't like the gravel run up to. The gravel run up at Victorville is much shorter than when it is in the real life, but for like all the BNSF and UP trackage, it's all 1-to-1 scale, and I would say they're at least at 75%. You know, between 70 and 75% accurate to the real world. Like Barstow, Barstow, the hump yard, there's actually a lot more tracks in the bowl in the real world than there are in-game. Yeah, Barstow only has 2/3 the bowl tracks. Yeah, I think we counted, I think there's like 33 or 30, I think there's like 36 bowl tracks in the real Barstow, and we've only got, what, 15 in-game?
Yeah, it's something like that. 36 sounds.
And then the quarry run up at Victorville, like that track is much shorter than what it is in real life. And at the top of the hill, there's actually a lot. That's a whole massive complex up there that they just left out.
Yeah, that would have been pretty cool to see that more detailed.
So the thing was, this train came into the depot under AI control and pulled in one of these tracks. He had to turn it around.
I gotta get a 7,000-foot train into San Bernardino
to get it ready to depart. And you know what? I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna grab one of these other Amtrak trains. We're gonna turn another
San
Amtrak train.
Bernardino's so full I can't even get the trains that are up to the yard for a few minutes.
Turn on. So part of our Friday night operations. Well, Quasi, if you do decide to take the plunge, let me get you a link Oh, I lost it. Stand by. If you do decide to take the plunge, and even before you decide to take that plunge, feel free.
Hello.
Hi there.
Hello.
All right.
Man, I gotta make a new one. If you feel free to join that Discord, that is the Discord that I'm using for this. You can come in there. We'll assign you the rookie role, so you can actually take a look and read information and see everything that we do, all of our paperwork and documents that we use. We actually don't. I've tried to streamline our operations to the point where you shouldn't have to have Google Docs up. You shouldn't have to have printouts and stuff, but you can have those if you want. Everything is mostly self-contained, but you can pop in there, you can see our screenshots, you can join in the chat, you can find out when we're doing our op sessions. Every Friday night we do an op session like this. We're just trying, because the server runs Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 11 p.m., right? Because that's when I'm awake, and when I go to bed, I shut my computer off and go to bed. Because the servers run on my personal gaming computer. But, But what ends up happening is, you know, one or two people show up throughout the week and do a little bit here and there, and then we try to all get together Friday and have a real big, just drink beer, talk trains, and have fun, and I stream it op session, and that's what we're doing here tonight.
BNSF 7223, diverging clear East Ash Hill, westbound, main number 1.
One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got 6 people in here right now. Yeah, I see that. Thank you. Thank you. I mean go ahead and I gave you the rookie role, so you should be able to see like our Run8 operations and everything like that to get a good feeling of what you might be getting into.
I'm going to tell you, it's a good game.
Oh shit! I was using push to talk during that, wasn't I?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you were.
Well, you know what? You know what? All of you right now should go out and buy Run8.
But we already own it.
Buy it again.
Yep.
I do own 2 copies of the original of Run8 V1 though, because hosting. Yeah, hot mic'd, yeah. It happens. Well, I moved my push to talk button to I got a new mouse, and I moved it to my new mouse. And accidentally turned that on. Alright, so I'm now actually down in I'm down in LA Station. I'm going to back up as far as this signal, and then I'm going to take that crossover and do all that. Well, he comes out, he's going... Okay. So we got 2 Amtrak trains moving down here in Amtrak, in LA, in the LA area right now. One of the really nice things about Run8 too is you look at it and go, oh man, there's all this DLC I have to buy. Oh no, I can't play on the server because I don't have all 12 locomotive packs and all the cars. That's not true. You can right now buy just the core version of Run8, not even any of the expansion rounds, and join the server and play with us. Because Run8 actually has filler stuff for all the cars you don't have. The only thing that would limit you is you wouldn't be able to join me down here in the LA station and work this train like I'm doing it right now, until you bought San Bernardino sub, and you'd have to buy Cajon sub too as well. But whatever you don't have, you either can't play on, or Run8 has a default substitute for, which makes it really awesome. Because then it's like, oh, I don't have to buy, you know, $40 worth of locomotives and stuff to be able, or you know, I think we did the math, and total DLC is like $700. You don't have to buy all $700. Buy the core game and go, you know what? I really like it. I'm going to invest in it. That's exactly what I've done, except for because I bought Run8 day one. Like the first version of Run8 when it came out, I bought it.
Yep.
And so as soon as a new piece of content comes out, I within the week buy it. I'm down here working this other Amtrak train. I'm going to turn that around and get it ready to go.
Okay.
So if we want to actually have a dispatcher, we can do that. If not, I can handle myself.
I'm good with having a dispatcher.
Do we want to roll the dice and pick one?
I'm good with it, yeah.
All right. Who here is... I know M-Trains is a rookie, but the rest of us are all crew members, right?
Yeah.
All right, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't have a D5. We're going to settle for...
I have several D6 somewhere. I can just ignore the 6 and roll again if it lands
Well, no,
on
what
it.
I'm going to do is I'm going to assign us numbers 1 through 6, and if it rolls a 1, I just re-roll it.
Yeah.
And the dice are rolling. The dice are rolling. I'm funneling it like my balls.
I approve of this.
5. The number is 5.
Who's the unfortunate
1,
soul?
2, 3, 4. Panther Coffee, do you want to dispatch?
Ooh, my first hand dispatching in an ops session.
Well, you're in luck. You would be dispatching with us.
Yeah, let's do it. Let me stop
Oh,
this.
Anya just joined. Hey, Anya.
Well, he's too late for the dice roll.
That's right. Somebody else can dispatch. God knows I spent enough time last night fixing shit.
Yeah, I saw the posts.
That was crazy insane, though.
Sounds
I mean,
like a lot for...
last
Sounds
night wasn't
like a
even the
lot
post
of
from
proper
before, man.
sim.
Last night
$700
was
is
messed
an
up.
investment, but
The
worth it
one
if
I
you
didn't
enjoy
even
it as
post
a
about
hobby.
last night was somebody
Like your
jacked
what
up
now?
the
Like my balls.
and I had to clean that mess up too. It was like,
No, like it's definitely worth it, but because I've built my collection over the lifetime of Run8, it doesn't seem like I've spent $700. All right, stand by. We're gonna be switching over to dispatch mode here in a second. Which means I just gotta move Reddit to the screen
PCK bars coming in.
because I don't want to bring up like all the password information and stuff on
It was a mess last night. I could not believe it. I copped in. I was just like, oh, shoot.
Pull up
Yep.
everything here.
Guess we're doing some plugs in Barstow.
Hey, make
I
sure you
shoved
reset
some
the,
cars in Barstow, but then I was like, I'm gonna go do some other stuff.
Okay,
Make
what do
sure
we need
you
the most right now? LA Union Station still, or is that taken care of?
Hey, since my authority just got rescinded, make sure you reset the crossovers between East Asheville and East Siberia and the signals to go with them, because I can't do it anymore.
We still have multiple trains. We still have at least 2 trains working in LA Station. I'm Amtrak 184, looking to Y my train and bring it back into an open track in LA Station.
Alright. 184. Okay. N trains, where are you headed right now?
Do we have another KCK bar coming in? Oh, God.
Now we also have voice channels specific for each area, but we don't have quite enough people to divide up into that.
I wasn't able to check if the hand throws in Barstow are clear for it.
Amtrak 4 at a red signal.
Clear signal 691.1.
Somewhere there's a button that I can make him a priority speaker, but I don't remember how to do it.
Okay, Amtrak 184, let me get you lined up here.
That might be a roll.
Yeah, I think I have to make it a roll. I'll do that. No, I can make that a super... It'd be quick or fast to make that a roll.
A roll's easier.
That wouldn't be hard to do. Just make a quick roll. You
I'm working on it.
Okay.
tell him to work faster.
Let's go faster. Let's
What
go
color?
faster.
What color do we want the dispatcher role to be?
Neon green.
Oh, you're doing 2 tonight?
I wouldn't say neon green. You could just do green. There's no.
Why is it okay? What the hell? I spelled dispatcher
Fine,
correctly,
hot pink then.
and it's like you misspelled it, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Who is this advocate, and what is that rule?
129. Did you already pass
Advocates
that skill
supposed to
and
be
back up?
people who work with staff to train rookies.
Ah.
Amtrak 129, you're clear to go. Amtrak 184, you have clearance into, you'll be heading on towards Taylor Yard, and I'll stop you there.
10-4.
Okay, so Barstow's still monumentally just that's for sure. Okay, you're headed east. Only one way you can go east.
ENSS 7223, clear signal Ludo, main 1 westbound.
There we go. I made it a roll. I made it. I got it all set up.
Good job.
And now we might be able to hear dispatcher easier.
Hello, dispatch noise.
Angry dispatch noises.
At Barstow. All of Barstow. Ugh. Get all my paperwork out here.
See, when we pick our dispatcher, we
I have
roll.
Panther turned up to 200% volume, and I still can't hear him.
And near tonight.
A little better.
Where's the KCK bar coming into it? Barstow.
Oh, no wonder he's using my webcam. What the hell?
And real quick, dispatch, I'm just gonna unlock all the signals, or not all the signals, all the CTC switches in Barstow for the yard crew, so they can still do stuff down there.
Sure.
Yard crew. What I do best.
All right.
So yeah, this game even models, like, it simulates the drag of going through corners. So you'll be rolling, and I was just coasting, and then start going through some tight trackage. You could hear the wheels squealing. It's like, oh, nope, now I gotta give it a little more power. And I'm actually, if you were to see me right now, my character's like hanging like this off the side of the train car.
Is the yard crew taking care of that KCK bar? Or is that just, should I just line it up into an empty track?
just didn't know where it was routed into already.
Well, you should have control of all the receiving tracks, Barstow Yard crew.
Yeah.
I just see unlocked, so.
Yeah, you'll have to manually like walk up and throw them as though they were ground through.
Yeah. See, my question is, did you already have it aligned so I know where you were aligned? I got you covered.
Okay.
Sucks because I was going to.
It does not look like it was lined into the yard yet.
That was less than we have a length on that train.
5100. It's gone now. 5117 or something like that.
Not wrong with it. So it's difficult to see because it does move a little bit. What's nice is when the cars, their status changes from empty to load, you actually see the
Dispatch,
springs
could I
compress.
have a permission to get on to Main 3 out of the San Bernardino Intermodal Yard, going westward.
There's some toggle switches, I forget where they're at.
You out of where?
San Bernardino Intermodal.
Alright. New line Amtrak here.
I have a Guinness. All is well.
Oh, they're right there. That's them right there. Why can't I click them?
On the main 3, coming up.
We do run realistic length trains, so I mean, this would be in train terms. It's not a cockpit; it's the cab. We do run realistic length trains, so you'll see a manifest with 80, 90
main
cars.
3 into main 2 eventually, correct?
Amtrak trains will be a little shorter because Amtrak trains tend to be shorter. Jacob on YouTube, good evening. Hello, thanks for tuning in.
All right.
But in locals, I think one of the locals we run has like 40 cars, and some of them have like 15. So I mean, but the locals also. The locals also vary in length depending on which local it is, how many cars were ready to go out on that local, how many cars that local can handle. So, and 90 cars. I think we ran a 1.5 mile long manifest occasionally. You won't hear us talking car counts. We'll never say, "Oh, I've got 97 cars. We've got 110 cars." We'll talk in train length, and we'll talk in thousands of feet. Am I streaming elsewhere? Yes, I am also streaming this to Twitch. I use a service called Restream, which allows me to stream to both Twitch and AI, or both Twitch and YouTube. Locals as in AI. No, locals, so you have...
Right, Mr. Yardmaster, where do you want this
there
Texas
are
train?
Three variations of a train. I should probably do my count. There are 3 variations of a train in the game. So you'll have a transfer train, which is just between yard to yard, or also known as a manifest. You'll have manifests, which are just, they don't make any pickups or setups, they just go between yards. So I guess transfer train wouldn't really count, but whatever. And you have...
Sligman Bound, ND2.
You have your locals, which are the trains that actually go out and drop cars off at all of your different industries.
SBI, intermodal switch, and line me to the end of main 3.
And weight, yeah. So when we're building a train, we'll look at the weight and we'll look at the length for actually determining, how many locomotives we need on it, which routes it can run up and down, where the locomotives go, because you can't just put you can't just put all of the locomotives on the front of the train. You have to distribute the power. Like this Amtrak train's short enough, we can put all the locomotives on the front, but Amtrak 184 to dispatch.
Dispatch, Amtrak 184, what can I do for you?
Are we cleared back into LA terminal?
You are cleared into track 2.
Copy. Cleared into track 2. Amtrak 184 out. Is your Twitch at night, Chester? I can't seem to find the stream on Twitch. No, I am.
76 looking to reverse into.
My Twitch is Kazakh Fairwind. Here, I'll give you a link to my Twitch.
All the way to the end.
Although you can also stay on YouTube. Either one works. Either way.
Sure.
More viewers on Twitch helps raise my rank up, and how many? Not my rank, but like my standing in like top streamers or whatever. Which I'm not really too concerned about. I'm concerned about being able to share this experience of playing Run8 and answer the questions anyone either on YouTube or Twitch chat have about this train simulator. Hence why I posted a link on the train sim subreddit. And
if I ever happen to be on an ops session where there's a westbound chief, I'm going to simulate a P-42 failure at Barstow and run it down with a GVO on the front.
Okay. Unlike other servers, we would allow that, as long as it's not every single Amtrak train. If you keep it within reason, you know.
I just want to do it once. I don't want to run an eastbound because why would you start one with the BNSM? Why would you start a chief from LAUPT?
If you're multi, might I recommend a chat from both overlay and
where you headed? Are you
I've tried that. The problem is I can't for whatever reason I cannot get YouTube chat configured through Streamlabs OBS. And on top of that, I feel like my overlays are already full enough. I don't want to clutter them more. Like, you're watching the stream, you can already see that little sidebar with the chat. You don't need to see the sidebar with the chat and then a second sidebar with the chat in it. I get it. I understand the idea behind it, but I'm not for it.
Yeah, it doesn't
it's
make
not for
sense.
me. It doesn't fit
make
my
sense
aesthetic.
to run an eastbound Amtrak with a freight engine on the front because you're right next to an Amtrak yard where they would in theory have plenty of P-42s to go around. So
I've seen people do it, and it's like, when they do the multi streams and it works for them. But then it's like, well, it doesn't work for me because you can already see the chat. And also, after the ending of Distant Worlds 2, that expedition, I'm going to be switching over to primarily streaming on Twitch, with the exception of the Run8 op sessions are going to be streamed to both Twitch and YouTube. So moving forward, like my Thursday night, Sunday night, and Monday night streams, because that's my stream schedule, those will be primarily Twitch. Whereas the Friday night stream will be going to both Twitch and YouTube. And of course, with Distant Worlds 2 ending, I need to find something else to stream on those days.
BNSF 7676. Let me. Where are you looking to go in the intermodal yard?
So Adventure Big Boy. I'm sorry.
What? Sorry.
One of the things
where are you looking to go in the intermodal yard? BNSF 7676.
Oh no, Quasi, I'm totally open to suggestions like that.
And just needed to get back
and I've put a lot of thought into the stuff that I'm doing. I'm not mad at you. I'm voicing my opinion, and I have nothing else to talk about, so I'm just going to continue voicing my opinion. But to get back to it, Adventure Boy, Railworks and Train Sim World, I think, are really, really good looking train simulators. They look beautiful, right? But their functionality is just subpar. It's very, very subpar.
The set of two and like the middle set of
like
tracks.
Ping me when you're there, and I'm gonna route that train.
The lack of multiplayer, and I was saying this earlier to Quasi. Railworks and Train Sim World are very much linear gameplay. It's start at point A, go to point B, get a gold star. It's the same kind of thing you see in Halo or Call of Duty, where a door opens, there's bad guys, you shoot the bad guys, you go to the other side of the room, you push the button, you save the world, right? That's a very linear, you're going in a straight line. there's dynamic gameplay, which would be your more open world games, such as like Skyrim. Or
BNSF 7223.
You could make the argument of Grand Theft Auto.
Signal 701.1 westbound main 1.
But hang on just a second.
And you go to reset your alerter, but you realize you're not clicked into Run8 and panic for a split second.
No, I could have left. I still got 48 hours. Boss, like, don't bother clocking out. Oh, okay. Go back to my stream stuff. Please don't show up bother too much.
PTC cast. Sheesh. What? No, I know what I'm doing. I've applied the brakes and was
Okay,
talking about it.
BNSF 7676 stopped at the red signal.
You seem like a
on
very
main
knowledgeable
one.
and respectful streamer. Happy to find you. You know, I try to. I've watched other people's streams. Adventure Boy, thanks for the follow. Eventually, I will have enough followers and subscribers that I can buy beer. No, I've watched. What it was is I was looking, like, I was getting ready to start streaming more full time, not just whenever I'm having fun. And I was like, well, I'm gonna watch some other streamers, and I found one guy, and he was super awesome, super respectful. Like, he answered every question in chat. He was right there, and that was how he got his viewers. Is he just was respectful of his community, of the people coming there, because there's 100 other people streaming. You could go watch 100 other people stream and play games. Granted, I'm probably the only one streaming Run8, but there's all these other people. You could go anywhere. You know, we all have to have our own unique thing that makes you want to stay here. And if I'm a dick to you guys, you're gonna go somewhere else. If I answer the questions, respectful of the community, yeah, just stick around. I hope. I don't know. It's your choice to be here, not mine. I don't know if I'm all the way in this. I mean, I know I probably am. Probably far enough in.
Amtrak 1, you let me know when you're ready to go.
I have to renumber this train, don't I?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is it gonna be
2 or 4.
What's the other one that N trains didn't take?
You got 2.
Number 2, Sunset Limited.
Well, I'm just gonna AI this train and turn the other one around to get it. Or I'm actually gonna take the other one and put it over in the Amtrak yard for service. So I'm gonna AI this one, and then you can get it out of here, and then I'll bring the other one out.
All right.
Or you could do 14, which is the Co-Star Light though, West Taylor.
It's a short little run.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, I'm just gonna take this other one over to the other yard as soon as this one gets out. Adventure Big Boy, what public servers do you recommend? Let me give you. Do I still have that URL?
Is the
Nope, wrong URL.
Was it Coastal Starlight you said?
Yeah, the Co-Star Light. I don't know if it's actually set up to spawn on the passenger.
Is it a double
spawn.
decker?
So I actually host my own server.
Yeah, because the
California, Michigan, Florida Railroad.
Seattle.
That's the link to our Discord.
Oh, okay. It's the western version of the Crescent.
You're more than welcome to pop in.
Yeah,
and
so.
Our server does have set hours that we run because I don't have a separate computer yet to run it 24/7. So it runs from 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time to about 11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and then I save the world, and then we resume the next morning.
No, that would be
and
more
then
similar to the
during the weekdays we have these kind of
the Silver
slow
Meteor, or the
operations,
Silver
which
Star.
is us doing whatever little jobs need to be done around the railroad. There's no set like you have to play so many hours, you have to do this local, you have to do this. You're just like, hey, you want to come in? You want to work a yard? Cool, work the yard. You want to run a local? Run a local. You want to run a manifest? Run a manifest. Oh man, my allergies kick my ass still. But then every Friday we try to get together and try and get as many people as we can. Ugh. Gods kill me now.
76, I'm relaying that switch behind you.
We try and get as many people
Got
on and
it.
have like a big op session like this. So, and that's what we've got going on.
7223,
That's
clear
why you
signal,
hear
East
people
Pisgah,
talking.
main 1
That's
westbound.
everyone on the Discord. Would you need to get more route add-ons? Should I? No, that's one of the beautiful things about Run 8, right? You don't have to have any of the DLC. If you have the core game, you can join our server right now, and you could be playing with
I'll
me
be getting
on stream.
a train out of San Bernardino shortly.
The only thing is, the routes that you don't have, you wouldn't be able to go to. The locomotives and rolling stock you don't have, you would see a default version of it. So, like, you'd see these P42s right here, right? But instead of seeing it as Amtrak, it would say Run 8 on the side of it. And then, like, the Santa Fe locomotive right here would just say Run 8 on the side of it. So. Oh, see, GN's in. And one of the things that I've tried really hard over the years to strive for my Run 8 server is to make it a server of learning and teaching. So we have roles called advocates. I thought the placeholder equipment was genius. Such a good idea on the devs of that. It was. Originally, there was individual placeholder content for everything, and then they're like, no, we're just going to make, like, when they would come out with a new pack, you'd have to, like, either download the payware pack or download the placeholder pack, and then they came up with a system that negates that. So
7223, got a high green again, West Pisgah.
And I gotta find my Amtrak train again. I could just do this. Oh, 114. Cool, I know that number. I can remember that number. I know that number because it's almost the holy number. 117.
Oh my goodness, all of Cajon is just monumentally screwed.
Shit. What is the DS tone for down here?
Say it ain't so.
What's the DS tone for down here?
For San Bernardino?
Yeah, for San Bernardino sub.
It's 35, I think.
It is star 15.
You want BNS? Yeah, BNSF is 15.
Well, I'm Amtrak, so.
UP is 50.
Yep, heard that.
I think that falls under BNSF territory there, though. I think it's star 15.
No, it's 50. Los Angeles Tower DS tone acknowledge. Wait for DS to call back. So yeah, it's 15.
Oh, okay.
Because I got to go through UP Los Angeles Tower because I'm working on UP trackage. So the radios actually have some functionality.
Who's there?
Hello.
Oh, it's GN.
Wow.
Hey, GN.
Oh, yo.
Panther is dispatching tonight.
Yep.
So the radios actually have some functionality. We can tone up, and you heard that.
The kids here unscrew the.
That was me radioing the dispatcher, letting them know, hey, I need to get a hold of you. If we were using TeamSpeak, you can actually use the channel functionality to switch channels, and then you can also do like channel 15. Let's see, we'll do it. Oh, no.
Are you?
I can change the text to channel 15. So now when I type into chat, but it's in channel 15,
All right,
and
Anya,
only
I've got
people in that
your
text channel.
CSX's line for Old Yard.
I'm just going to tone dispatch again.
That's fair.
Amtrak 114 to dispatch.
Dispatch Amtrak 114. What can I do for you?
Looking to back out of LA Terminal and head to the Amtrak service facilities.
Back out? Are you okay? All right.
Yeah, last crew brought the train in, head in first.
Okay, once this train gets into San Bernardino, there's a train that'll be ready to leave.
Alright. Let me see what I can do for you, Amtrak 184.
I'm just running down the side of my train now.
This was that big one.
These lights actually work too. Like if I apply the brakes, you'll see those lights. They all turn red. That means the brakes have actually been applied and they're working. And then
Alright, I'm gonna send you into the yard and you can get the switches line from there.
Copy that. Following signal indication into the Amtrak yard. Amtrak
Yeah,
184
I can get you
14.
into-
Amtrak 114 out.
Yeah, I can get you past those first two CTC switches that turn into main 3 and 4, and then after that, it's up to you in the yard.
Of course, I'm breaking all kinds of rules here by texting and
Let's get
drinking.
rid of 184 is going out to. That's okay. Sunset Limited. Dispatch to Amtrak 129, over.
This is Amtrak 129.
I'm gonna need you to back on up. You're fouling the switch right now.
I don't have that signal
We'll
yet.
do that
So.
right now.
Begin CTC. I can't pass that signal until he gives me the signal. I wonder, did he forget to throw a switch? Did he give me the signal? Oh no, there's a. He didn't give me the signal, but I got another Amtrak train in front of me. Dispatch, you may have got a little bit of a mistake here.
Are you talking about that sandbar train?
No, Amtrak 184 should be going down the Alhambra sub. Amtrak 114 on track 1 at LA Union Station is looking to get into the yard.
Gotcha. All right. All right. Stop.
Got a little bit of confusion going on down here now.
Amtrak 129 dispatch.
Dispatch Amtrak 129. Let me cross you over here. All right. Well, I'm gonna hop over to that train and just.
I'm stopped. I can take over. I can back that one up a little bit.
Okay. That was me. I was thinking it was headed to.
Yeah, that was my fault. We have
Field.
2 trains, both with very similar numbers. You got 184 and 114, both trying to do 2 different things.
Gotcha.
Okay,
So what to do is I'm going to back this train up.
At the east end of the San Bernardino intermodal yard for the intermodal train.
All these passengers are like, wait a minute, we're going down the wrong way. No wonder Amtrak's always late.
Where's that headed?
I'm going to just... I got a lot of notifications here. Why do I have so many notifications over there? Just tuning in, we're going to back an Amtrak train up a little bit.
BNSS 7294. Hey, that's AI. Did you AI that? Oh god, everything's just...
Everything's a mess like always. That's what happens in dispatches, when people dispatch.
Okay, let's figure out where all these trains are going.
I mean, there's an easy way to fix it, but no one would like that, and not even me.
It's alright, you're still probably doing better than CSX.
Yeah.
Oh, did you see the news? A coal train overturned because of a heat kink somewhere in South Carolina.
Today?
It was very recently. I'm not sure if it was today. It was a CSX train. Between 10 and 15 coal hoppers overturned.
I forgot to add on a block of cars on the leaving intermodal train, but it's gonna have to pull up a lot more, so I'll have to get routed on to the main line switch that it'll be leaving on out of San Bernardino to get those out of main 1.
Amtrak 184 to dispatch.
Dispatch, Amtrak 184. You need to be backed up and crossed over, correct?
Correct. If you line me all the way over to mid-Taylor crossovers, I can give this train back over to its crew, and then you can just send it up SPR up to the Alhambra sub that way.
Alright, I'm gonna give you clearance up to here.
Yeah,
Alright, you should be good there.
Dispatch through that signal, these switches, that switch, that signal, and that signal there for me. I didn't click them. He did it for me. Copy that. Following Amtrak 184 following signal indication. 184 out.
Go home. We have 2 trains going different directions on the same
This is his first time
track.
dispatching an obsession, and it's a little hairy for him.
But I hope that's not.
And of course, like I was saying, the group that we have here is a pretty good group of calm, relaxed people. Like, there are other public groups where if you do something that they don't quite find particularly, you might get yelled at, you might get hounded at, or if you're new and you make mistakes, But we specifically have the role of rookie for new players. So when they come in, if they make those mistakes, we recognize, oh, this is obviously a new person. Let's give them some mentoring. And then once we realize, once we the staff feel that you are comfortable enough, like we're comfortable enough not having to teach you anymore, you know enough about how to operate on our railroad, we give you that crew role, and then that opens up the ability for picking a yard. If a yard doesn't have a head yard master, you are able to be the head yard master for that yard. And that just means that you lay out the day-to-day operations. You don't even have to play, every single day or all the time. You don't have to be online to still be the yard master. You just are the go-to person for anything that happens in that yard. So let's say Adventure Big Boy, you decided you wanted to be the UP Bakersfield yard master. We already have one, but let's just say you wanted to be the UP Bakersfield yard master. If you're not online, and I want to work that yard, and I don't know where a particular cut of cars needs to go, I could, on Discord, be like, hey,
it was all backed up.
Where do these cars go? And you'd be like, oh, here's the notes on where I would like those cars. And then that means that if I work that yard, you work that yard, any other people work that yard, we will all be on the same page and everything will move very smoothly. Unlike where I've seen other groups where it's like, if they'll be like, oh, I'm the yard master. And if they're not online, you can't work their yard. Or if you work their yard, they get mad at you about it. It's like, no, I'm the head yard master for Barstow. As long as you follow the basic instructions that I gave and put the cars where I say and, use common sense. As long as the work gets done, it gets done. This isn't a job. We're not getting paid to be here. This is a game. We're here to have fun. It's treated as such. And that's why, Dispatch is making some mistakes. It's first time doing it. But I'm not yelling at him. I'm not stepping in and doing his job for him. I'm, giving him some suggestions. And he's taking them and making them his own.
Someone's on the move. That's a good start.
I like the inconsistency in naming standards.
Barstow Dispatch.
Barstow 1-31. CCAL SBD-31.
Barstow on MD3 is ready for westward departure.
We've got a grade crossing coming up.
Looks like you got something switched there.
Didn't quite get my timing right on that, but okay. So it's no big deal. There's actually one Run8 server where you have to go on a check ride with them and drive the entire road, and they make notes every time you miss a grade crossing or you screw it up. And it's like, if you don't pass your check rides, you can't operate on their server. It's like, wow.
Can't ride piggyback cars. Darn it. Always forget about that.
You used to be able to ride them as a passenger and actually sit inside the container.
What?
Yeah, early riding positions for most of the cars included sitting inside of them. And because your avatar would be represented wherever you were sitting, so you'd randomly just see an avatar in a seating position 50 feet above a car. What did I do wrong there? I started the grade crossing sequence of long, short, long too
There used
early.
to be hobos in Run8.
All the good old times I miss in Run8.
And so I just had to hold the horn extra.
7223.
But it's no big deal.
Go
It's
ahead,
not
dispatch.
I fucked up and I need to
NSF
be flogged.
7656. I'm gonna hold you at the end of the departure yard till 7277 runs by you. Then I'm crossing you over towards Mojave here.
7223, clear signal, CP Troy, westbound main 1.
I mean, you can even hear in our voice chat, we've got people just randomly bullshitting and stuff. Okay, you try to have all horn signaling
back
done
to the
before.
colossal.
No, so
mess.
the way you do it is it's long, short, and then your final long is just before you hit the grade crossing, and you let off the horn as the grade crossing, as you exit the other side of the grade crossing.
What is?
So your horn should be blowing the entire time you're going through it. Which way the back do I have to go? Ah, I got one more signal.
Sure.
This train's actually, I'm going to be backing it up and then re-AIing it. Just AI, so it'll do a text chat here. There's a train waiting to depart Fresno from the East Yard. No, you're not getting annoying. That's the whole point of this stream is... why do I have a red signal? I should have a clear signal.
Okay, the train leaving San Bernardino has
well.
now been AA.
That's the whole point of this stream is to be newbie friendly. To teach people and answer questions like that.
Hey, whoever's, I think Kazakh has dispatcher permissions. He's gonna have to route stuff out of Bakersfield sub. I do not know.
Oh, you don't have Bakersfield sub? Then I will. GN, you could be Bakersfield sub dispatch here. I'll give that to you in a second.
Okay.
So we can have multiple dispatchers, and I just gave GN authority for Bakersfield sub.
7537.
If we have a lot of people, if we have like this many people and work consistently, you might consider having like a BNSF and a UP dispatcher.
Well, yeah, that's the whole idea, and that's why we also have all these different voice channels. So that way what would happen is we would filter into those channels, tone the dispatcher up. The dispatcher then would move to the voice channel that we're in, answer our questions, and get us on the road.
Yeah, and then that's why there's two dispatch. That's why there's a dispatcher voice channel so that the UP and BNSF dispatcher can talk to each other.
Yes, that way they can coordinate with each other. I really wish Discord would give us whisper lists like TeamSpeak used to have. And what that would do is we could have, like, all of us as a crew would have one push-to-talk button that would talk to everybody in the channel we're in, and then a separate button that would allow us to talk to just the dispatcher channel, right? And then the dispatcher would have one button for each of the voice channels that he could then talk to independently.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
But we don't have whisper lists in Discord yet, and it makes me sad every day.
Okay, dispatch, this is BNSF 7458, currently sitting in the San Bernardino intermodal yard. I'm gonna have to pull forwards past the west San Bernardino intermodal switch so I can back into the ramp tracks.
Alright, giving you a litter. You need to change. You're in the yard, so let me cross it over too.
I can turn my flashlight off now. Should be passing that signal anytime here. How do you know the speed limits? So, there's two ways, right? Well, there's three ways. If you know where you're at,
okay,
you
where
will
are you
know.
At currently,
I'm on
stand by.
the inner yard track in San Bernardino. There's technically two that come out of there.
So right here we can actually see we got two signs right here. This is the first way. You see the sign? When the last car passes the sign, that is my speed limit. Now, P is for passenger and F is for freight. If I was a freight train, my speed limit through here would be 20 miles an hour. But I'm a passenger train, I can do 30. And that's just because I can stop. A passenger train can stop much faster than a freight train. The other thing is, if I knew what mile marker I was at, I could pull up my timetable and know what the speed limit for that area is. And the other way is I have this little HUD bar up here at the top. Normally when I'm driving a train, I have it off like that. But I can turn it on and actually cycle it through.
So here's our issue.
And this option right here is actually going to tell me
AI
my train and track speed.
Or did you take that AI train that was sitting just outside Main 3 or Main 1?
What do you mean in San Bernardino?
Yes.
Yeah.
You did. Okay, that was you.
Yeah,
I
because-
lined you and then I lined it back. Correct.
Yes, because I'm already gonna go in and back it onto the ramp tracks.
Amtrak 184 to dispatch.
Dispatch Amtrak 184. Looking for forward movement. Line you up.
Well, I'm gonna AI this train, put its crew back on there, and then it'll be all yours for dispatching. One 184 is looking for signal indication heading up the Alhambra sub.
Well, you've got it.
I'm gonna go back to Amtrak 114 and continue my move into the service facilities.
Roger.
So the red text at the top of the screen like that is actually just, it's in-game. However, like the text you see right here,
BNSF 7223 got an approach
which is
medium.
obscured by some of my
Approach
overlays,
medium, CP Mineola,
which is
westbound.
which is obscured by some of my overlays. That is just that's the in-game text and like
Okay,
information
yeah, we're
and stuff.
still,
You can actually
working
change
through
that
some
color.
Complications at still.
Message color, I can change it to
It's just fine.
orange. And then let's see. I think that changes the HUD color as well. No. Well, somebody joined and doesn't have a name in their F1 menu.
Yep.
Not me. I'm innocent.
It's all you, Viper.
I swear. Wasn't me.
I've already tracked the IP to your house.
God damn it.
I know where you live.
No, but you know what would be great is figuring out why my mouse keeps bugging out tonight.
Is it just in Run8 or is it in general?
Yes, just in Run8.
So there's a weird thing with Run8 where your mouse will just, like when you're panning over, it'll just randomly jump in random directions. I have that same issue.
Yeah,
Nobody's been able to figure it
that's
out.
what's going on.
Nobody's been able
I
to
think
figure it
it's
out.
because it gets to like the end of the window and it hops back to the center.
But no, I
If
know
you
who it
mention
is.
it's like a
I know who
borderless
that
window.
person is with none. I'm just because he's on my stream right now.
Oh, okay.
Adventure Big Boy, if you're on the Discord, go ahead and click on Crew Lobby in the voice chat. You can pop in there. Even if you don't have a mic, you can at least hear us talking, and it makes it much faster for us to communicate with you.
Is it Quasi?
No, it's Adventure Big Boy. If you're
Quasi was coming in my stream earlier too.
Okay. No, but also try to make sure that you press F1, right? And you go to the crew tab and then type your name right here.
BNSF 7656.
Try to make that name
Once
match your
this,
Discord name.
train gets by you, you're good to go.
Oh, I know. I gotta sort through. I've got a different name for almost every account.
Well, try and make your in Run8 name match your Discord name.
There we go. That's what I want.
It just makes sure that we know who we're talking to.
Mm-hmm.
The only person who can get away with that is me because I'm also the host.
Minor technicality.
Yeah, as soon as if I ever get a second computer, then I will go back to using Kaz.
There we go.
7223 running on an approach aspect. I didn't see that map, so it's alright if you have to hold me. I just like to call signals.
Amtrak 114 to dispatch.
Dispatch Amtrak 114.
Yeah, crew's back on board after fixing that other train. We're looking for signal indication into the Amtrak service facilities.
You got it.
Copy. Amtrak 114 following signal indication to Amtrak service facilities. Amtrak 114 out. Why am I not moving?
So if the signals are orange as well as the switches, it means that I don't have dispatcher control.
Yes, currently because we have a dispatcher, we have two dispatchers on duty. No one else has access to the dispatch panel.
Would I see what train is occupying the block?
No, you would not even see a train occupying the block. You can look at the dispatch board, but you're not going to be able to get any information from it.
Right. Okay.
And we only have a dispatcher on duty for tonight, simply because that's our big op session night.
Yeah, so if you got on the server like tomorrow morning, anybody can dispatch. It would be open to anyone to do because this is just the special Friday night op session.
And they're pretty fun, to be honest.
Yeah, they're fun when I can make them. I wasn't even planning on being out of town Friday, and then like at the last minute, they're like, "Hey, you want to go to Utah?" And I'm like, "Okay."
What do you mean they're fun when you can make it to them? We have fun when you're not here anyway.
Oh, I see. I see how not loved I am. Well, after this session, I'm deleting the server.
Oh, fine. I didn't say you weren't
Cowabunga
loved.
it is.
I'm gonna go make my own server with blackjack and hookers. Oh wait, I already did.
How dare you?
BNSF 7656, you have an aspect out of the yard.
I made that joke a couple months ago. Savage. Actually, we say that. I say that. There was a guy who he ran a server, and I'm going to tell this story on Discord as well. So I make that joke about deleting the server, about not being cared about or loved or whatever. There was a guy who did that. He ran his community into the ground. He disrespected every one of his members. And then when no one would play with him, he whined and whined and whined about it. And then finally just said, well, it's all somebody else's fault, and I'm deleting everything. And deleted everything.
Interesting.
And that is how you don't run a Run8 server. What happens is you sit there and you say, oh no, I'm making mistakes. I am being detrimental to the community. And when I say I am actually talking about myself. I'm being detrimental to the community that I'm trying to build. I'm going to fix those mistakes and make it better. And here we all are now.
Right?
I mean,
he just wanted to take his toys and go home.
Exactly. But no, I say that, and look who's in the server. I'm looking at you, GN.
Wait, hold up, what?
Talking about you.
Alright.
All those late nights we used to have in Paris.
Amtrak 114, you were lined into the
You weren't
Amtrak.
supposed to tell anyone.
I told everyone.
What happens in
Shit.
Paris stays in Paris.
No, that's Vegas. And
hi,
what happens
Mom.
in Vegas stays in Vegas, except for
What
chlamydia.
happens in Vegas stays in Kaz's house.
Yeah, pretty much.
7223 dispatch just got upgraded from a danger signal to an approach.
Yep, we got a little traffic in front of you moving along.
BNSF 7458 ready to back into the San Bernardino Intermodal Yard.
I do cheat just a little bit at Run8 because Run8 out of the box supports the rail driver, so you can kind of see this control setup I have right here. This is what I'm using to actually drive.
Alright, you were lined and have a lunar aspect.
But by default, it runs this like right out of the box, plug it in, you're good to go. But most people don't have this rail driver because it's like a $200 piece of equipment. I got mine super cheap at a train show used. And I'm going a little too fast coming into this corner. But by default, like the keyboard controls are
What the
a
hell
little
is
wonky.
LPC? Is that LPK or just...
LPC is Logistics Park Chicago, so that's select.
I don't know if any of these switches are lined up for me.
BNSF's major intermodal terminal in Chicago. Well, there are other ones. Well, it's outside Chicago. They have like 3 in the Chicago area. right? Because they have, yeah, that's right. Because they have Corwith, Cicero, and LPC. Yeah.
Back in the early days of Run8, somebody actually posted a picture where they were making a full GEVO cab simulator for Run8. And they had like a big screen TV out the window.
Cass, is that a freight train sitting in the Amtrak yard?
That is a freight train sitting in the intermodal yard. Because these 4 tracks right here are actually intermodal storage tracks. It's this other yard right here that's actually the Amtrak yard.
Okay.
I think this was an intermodal train that accidentally got routed into the Amtrak area at one point, so. I applied too much brakes and my train stopped. But, I don't know whatever happened to that project. I know there's a couple other people who were working on their own versions of them as well, but those projects, when the official Run8 forums were shut down, all those projects kind of went with them. I had this conversation last night on my Elite Dangerous stream. I have flown in a full 747 cockpit simulator, and not like one at a museum. Like this was in a private home. Like this guy emptied out his master bedroom and built this thing.
General Kenobi.
Hello?
Hello.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Oh, hello there.
But
That was a Shrek meme,
and I had
but
this.
I'm really
After I
bad at
flew in that, I
accents.
flew on it a couple of times.
Oh,
I
yeah.
had this dream.
Not bad.
In my dream, I owned that. Like he'd given it to me, and I had filled it full of webcams, and I had like a controller right here where I could switch the webcams, and I had become fluent in flying this thing. Like I could fly cross country, global flights, and that in this dream I had. And then, but what I was doing is I was sitting in the co-pilot seat, and I was bringing in my friends who had never flown in a flight simulator and everything, and I was putting them inside this thing, and I was just flying for an hour, live streaming our flight, but they were doing 100% of everything, and then like mid-flight, I'm just interviewing them about like their hobbies and their interests and stuff. And then I woke up that morning and I was like, all right, I have to do all the research. How much would it cost to build a budget flight simulator? And then I realized I could do it for about $2,000 or $3,000.
Proceeding by signal indication.
I could do it for about $2,000 or $3,000. I just don't have the money or the space to do it. But it's like if I did it, that's one of the things. That's one of like my goals. My gaming goals is build even just a small budget flight simulator for a web series. But those big ones, like his, like if you go to Flight Deck Solutions, the company that built his is featured on there, and it's one of those things where if you ask how much it costs, you can't afford it.
All right, KB. Where's that?
Lowball estimates put them at $60,000.
That should be off-route UP Bakersfield.
Okay.
If it was routed wrong, just send it to the closest.
What's a good route to fly around to see how trains are staged, but just have the default routes? Well, right now, it looks like Viper and Anya are working Barstow. Am I correct?
Yes.
So what I would do, Slyrox, Adventure Big Boy, press F2, go to network, go to the client tab, find either Viper's Blood or Anya, right under him, Anya, and hit teleport to selected player. And then you can hit like Control F12 puts you into flying mode, and you can fly around and watch them actually like build trains in the yard. Yeah, the one
Shift F2 for flying, but yeah.
Oh shit, I was close.
Yeah, you're pretty close.
60,000. One of the ones I was reading, guys said he spent
has an approach medium,
like $68,000 on his, and he's like, yeah, I had to buy like an extra $5,000 air conditioning unit specifically for that room in his house. The proper term is close only counts with horseshoes, hand grenades, and thermonuclear weapons. Oh, stop. Tomato potato. That's right, I said tomato potato. Amtrak 114 to dispatch.
Dispatch, Amtrak 114. What can I do for you?
Got a little distracted back there. Forgot to let you know that I'm off the main and out of your hair for now.
All right. Thank you.
Amtrak 114 out. Yeah, it's like that guy who owned that too. Like I don't know how much exactly he spent, but I know what he sold.
So the Pacific 86
To buy
is looking
that.
pretty good there.
And it's like, oh man. So I'm gonna put these cars in the car repair shop area because they need some servicing. So the train horns actually are used to communicate without using the radios. 3 short blasts like that. Quasi Twitch. Yeah, both of them
I
there.
still wish we had 4-axle dash 8s to slap like 10 of them on a train.
Calm down there, Satan.
7458. Once you're dropping that train off, what's your next move there? We got another train bound for Sandbar, sitting outside the yard. If you want to take that in, I would greatly appreciate it.
What was that, Kaz?
Calm down there, Satan.
I am.
This is the third time the Hump's been interrupted.
What was that on you?
This is the third time the Hump controller's deactivated.
Huh.
I've been noticing my frame rate's a little choppy. I'm almost tempted to just sit there and say, do we want to take 5 minutes and let me restart the Run8 server?
It's all up
I
to you.
mean-
You're the boss.
I'm fine with that.
That bit perfect.
If it does
There was
happen, then I'm gonna be heading off.
It would only take about 2 minutes to reload everything.
And trains,
don't
do
wanna-
you want to pull into the Amtrak station and head off there?
And where's the nearest Amtrak station?
You are, from what I can see, how close are you? You're at Arlington right now, so next station's 5 miles.
Okay, I can handle that.
Alright, I'll let you get to that station and then we'll just do a quick restart.
I don't know, will everyone else be okay with that?
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
So I've also noticed, like, when people joined, like, on my end, everything pauses for just a half a second. I'm like, it's probably time to restart the server just to clear up some memory, you know?
I'm just going to also say, I haven't been seeing this many people on the server before since I joined the Run8 community.
I've seen people, I've seen us crash a server because we had too many people on it.
Ouch.
That was also back before when, like, the cap was, like, 32 people. And we had, like, 58 people trying to join a server. And the devs immediately jumped on that. Like, they fixed it and got us going good. Yeah, so it's mostly diesel trains. It's only diesel
Oh
trains.
yeah, I remember
They
you
haven't,
telling
they
that
haven't,
story before. Back
they haven't released any steam engines yet. And we're unsure about if or when they will. Yeah, it was early version of it was early V1. They used to do a once a month calling all high seniority hoggers sessions before we had AI. So every train had to be driven by a player, and these were 2 to 3 crew trains that they would do, and these were like 12-hour sessions. So you would sign up like a month in advance, and then they would email you your train orders and what time you needed to be on. And the session was about to start, and everyone was trying to get on, and every time we'd get to 32 people, the server would crash. And no one could figure out why, because as far as we could tell, there was no cap. Then the developers, like, one of the developers was trying to join, he's like, hang on a second, let me check something. Everyone just stand by. We're all sitting there in TeamSpeak, waiting and waiting. About 5-10 minutes goes by, and he says, all right, go to the Run8 Studios, download the new update. Here's what I changed. I increased the cap from 32 people to, I think he said it was like 999 people. It's like, we'll never get to those numbers, but I'm going to increase the cap just to that because I can. And then I think we had like 70 people in.
That's pretty awesome there.
Yeah.
Crap. I need the crossover switches on the east end of Barstow unlocked.
Sure.
Sorry, west end of Barstow.
West End crossovers. Which for
all 5 switches.
West End, like by the Mojave lead.
Yeah.
All right, they're unlocked.
Yes, you do actually have to refuel. Fuel consumption is calculated and is realistic. So we can actually see, we click on a locomotive. This locomotive is at below 50% fuel.
Now, are you going
This
to
one's
be
at about 50%.
swapping those? Because I got a train coming through.
Coming into Barstow.
And I'm actually driving these locomotives over to one of the fuel pads. I don't know if this fuel pad is set up to be functional, but we're going to park it on the fuel pad, and then we're going to call it a night for the well, not for the stream, but for these locomotives.
Can't pull a train out onto the main line and throw it back into the fuel tracks. I don't care about the through lines.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Those are all. Now these 2 on the main 1, main 2, I'm going to take those back.
Yeah, I just need the 5 on the throws.
Okay.
There we go.
Since could you sleep in 30 minutes? I mean, you know, realistically, I tend to go to bed around. I normally end the streams around 10 o'clock, so I got probably not about an hour of this. Well, no, realistically, I end the streams at 8 o'clock, but for the Run8 nights, I ended at 10 o'clock. And since I already took my shower for the night...
7223, approach signal East Barstow, westbound.
I took my shower for the night, I don't have to worry about doing that, so
Yep,
it's
you
like,
got a train
get
stop
ended
in
at 10
front of
o'clock
you,
and then go to bed at
and
11.
one more in front of that, but that one's on the move now. And one in front of you should be following suit now. You're all headed the same place.
Alright, did I get it? Alright. Refuel pad. Yep, there. We're on a refuel pad. You can see the fuel levels increasing.
Server restart. I might find a local to run.
You're Eastern, so 1 a.m. is a stretch. That's no big deal. Hello, now horn. I'll definitely give a heads up before we do the restart. I'll let everybody know. It's going to take about 2 minutes to get everything loaded back up, but they're having some issues in Barstow. I was having some issues when I was down there earlier.
I'm always at the sighting.
And so I just want to do the restart now, so that way we can continue having a smooth operating session. Since obviously, like, we've got a lot of people in here, and it's going to start chewing up data and stuff.
I don't know. I always just blame any problems I have on my Fisher Price Mountain internet. So.
Hi, have you met Jay Hurwitz?
I mean, I just blame everything on Comcast because Comcast, but you know.
Have you guys met Jay
Yeah.
Hurwitz? Have you seen his ping?
Oh my gosh, his ping is ridiculous.
His ping
It's
is
like
never
consistent
below
600.
Yeah,
Okay, so here's the thing. We have 2 trains bound for KB, headed towards Sandbar or Alhambra, either way.
Fisher
What, they're
Prison.
on the cone sub?
Yeah.
Jay Hurwitz
Yeah,
has
that's how they're
satellite
supposed
internet
to
because
be.
he
They don't-
lives
at least
way
how
out in
we
the middle
run
of the
it, they don't take
boondocks.
the,
And so his
advanced
ping is
Mojave
never
sub
below
because,
like
how we have
600.
it
Like
set up, UP does not
everyone's
have
pings,
tracking.
like mine is 0
They
obviously
make
because
a
I'm the
U-turn.
host.
Yeah, they make a
94,
U-turn
97,
at
79,
West Colton
59.
crossover, right?
41
Yeah,
because
so they're
Viper lives in
gonna- they go
California.
down,
63,
to San
91.
Bernardino,
Like
then
these
they
are all really
go up,
good low numbers, and then his will be like
they
600,
go up,
and it'll go up to like
Honda cutoff.
1200. And so he has to do like all of his switching moves and all of his uncoupling like at a much
No, we
slower
eventually
pace,
cross,
so he doesn't outrun the server.
Cross them over. All the, at least on the map, all the westbound traffic we cross over at Cajon. Is that correct? So if they need to go to the yard, they can. Otherwise,
What
they
train
carry
is
on.
this? Where does this go?
Yeah, so at CP Summit and CP Cajon, the traffic should
Yeah,
be
he
switching
lives. I forget exactly where he
direction.
lives. Somewhere in Montana, and it's
because
like,
obviously you don't want to send
his
eastbound
internet
trains
is just
up
garbage.
the,
Also,
what is it,
yo,
3
Saban,
point-
that person I
3.4%
know.
grade.
No.
You want to send them up to 2.2.
Just gonna turn the camera exposure up a lot because it's dark. And even though, like, in this area at this time of night, it is absolutely pitch black. I'm just like, well, so we can see things. Pros and cons. I'm sure it's beautiful where he lives. And I've seen pictures.
Okay, we're making some progress here.
Let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people
Do
on
they
here.
have whistle
and-
posts for bridges on the BNSF?
Yes. 1, 2,
Okay.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 trains running. So
And
I did
by
count
the way,
Jen. He's
dispatch,
switching back and forth.
San Bernardino track, so you can just put that one on main one since like just next to the yard since we don't normally use.
Is he gonna overrun that stop?
Storing trains.
Um,
that need to come into San Bernardino temporarily.
The train will delete for you. It'll just disappear. For the rest of us, it comes to a complete stop right there. Typically, we sit there and say, don't run trains off of end of track because it sometimes also breaks everything.
To get into there too.
Dispatch, Amtrak 129.
Okay, I reached the station on the sighting that you assigned me. Do you want me to just AI it or abandon it?
If you want to drive it later, you can.
You can just leave it there and you can come back to it another time.
10-4. Well, in that case, I call abandon. There.
You can just
Okay,
relinquish
you
it.
can do
And
yours.
log off. All right. About 2 minutes. I'm gonna restart the server.
Understood.
I got get my trim train tied down.
Yeah, make sure you guys get everything
I'll go
tied
ahead
down.
and shoot. I'll go ahead and shoot the brakes.
Yes, you can despawn a train. Go and get
That's enough time.
So
for me to
what we
drop
what
off
we
this
suggest
one
doing
car for an industry and then
is if you don't
stop
own the
the
route,
train.
like let's say you don't own Cajon, you drive the
Back
train
to
right up to
my
the edge of the
LAJ
tracks,
local,
you stop it, and then
finally.
you AI
Anyway,
recruit it,
thanks for
and then
the-
you'll see it disappear.
Thanks for the
But
invite.
for the rest of us,
Sure.
it'll continue going
Yep.
and still be
We run
available for us to
sessions
use.
every Friday.
It's
well, as long as the
highly
staff
recommended
members
that you
care
don't
to
delete
run them.
trains on our server. That's like
There's
we have a
between the
list
three
of
of us,
rules,
though,
and
I
deleting
should
trains
be
is
useful.
on that list.
Okay, Cajon is mostly getting on the move here. Unfortunately.
Okay, I'm heading out. Night night.
Okay,
Night.
good night.
Like I said, here in a second, we're just gonna do a quick restart of everything.
Alright.
Sounds good.
Just let me know when you guys had everything tied down.
All right,
It's
I'm
not.
done. I'm good.
I shot my brakes and A out of my train.
So it's not that it screws with dispatch. It's that a lot of these trains, because let's say a train comes into Barstow and I spend 5-6 hours sorting all these
the trains
cars
will be
and
stopped
building
anyway
a train,
once they,
and then you drive it
starts again.
2 miles and you go, oh, I don't want to drive this anymore, and you just delete it. You just deleted 5-6 hours of work that I did. Not to mention let's say some of those cars came in, went on a local, went out, and had been on the route for weeks, being worked by different players.
Bail out.
They never get to their final destination. It's kind of like an FU to everybody if you do that.
I am waiting. Just let me know when it's back up.
I'm just waiting for everyone else to either bail out or let me know that they are good to go, and then I'm going to save it and everything. So see a couple people here working. There's a few exceptions. Like sometimes you'll get cars that have telescoped into each other. It's okay to delete them then, but at least let us know, like, hey, I deleted a couple cars that were telescoped, or sometimes a train will corrupt and it just has to be deleted, so. Those times it's okay and acceptable to delete the train. But like, oh, I deleted it because it was in my way. No, move it. Don't delete it. We actually had somebody we removed from the server because they're like, oh, there's too many trains, and they deleted like 80 trains. And we're like, dude, like half the trains you deleted were trains that we were saving for other people to run. So they got barred from our server. But it was one of those things where we had talks with them, and there was a lot of other issues with that particular person. Alright, looks like we're all good. I'm gonna save, and then I'll let you guys know.
Okay. All right.
I can't find my Run8 button. Oh, there it is. And periodically, because Run8 is a bit of a memory hog, you can kind of just give it the old restart. We have 761 trains to load.
Jeez.
Holy.
Last time I looked, we were at about 13,000 units.
Yeah. We still have a lot of stuff in
I remember when the
in
unit
local
count was-
yards. We still have a lot of stuff in local yards in the LA area that isn't being moved. It's getting better than it has been in the past. Stuff's starting to be done, but yards come to mind like Malabar, where stuff hasn't been done for months.
All right, everything is back up. It's still loading. It's about 75% done loading trains. So if you guys want to start jumping back in. If you don't see your train, it probably hasn't loaded yet.
All good.
We're at 690. Do we want to pick a new dispatcher, or do we want to keep with our old dispatchers?
I'd say that would be up to the dispatcher if he's done for the night or not. That's personally what I would say.
Oh, he's got his mic muted.
My bad. I still got a couple hours left for me. I'm good.
You want to keep dispatching?
Yeah.
All right, I will give you back your dispatch, and I will also give it to GN as soon as I see him pop on the board.
I was eating some Starburst. I didn't want to hear you guys or have you hear my chewing.
I mean, I'm drinking beer on stream. Loudly.
Luck. I'm over here chewing on freaking cherries before they go bad.
I did that at that event I went to last week. Like, I was so mad. I walked back to my camp, popped open a beer, and chugged the entire thing, just staring my girlfriend right in the eyes. I was just giving her that death glare. Like, I am pissed. Beer me. It didn't help that I didn't bring my cooler. Like, I completely forgot to grab my cooler, so all my beer was warm.
Oh.
I mean...
So, if we have a train that is going to the SEMA sub, but it's on it's in the Mojave sub right now for Silverwood, we don't give out trackage rides, so it would have to go to Mojave, cut across, and hit the Barstow. Or because that would be trackage rides either way.
All UP trains have to take the Palmdale cutoff and go that way, the long way for now.
To get to the SEMA sub?
Yes.
Yeah, because how we're doing the server is that we don't have EP trackage rights over the BSF Mojave sub, so Sanborn to Barstow. Just because mostly we do it that way, just because UP didn't have those trackage rights for a long period of time, and they only just recently got them in real life. And we figure that most of the world and server is set in like
the general time frame is somewhere in the 90s, and also it makes for more fun operational interest to make them go around that way. It's more challenging for the dispatcher, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So much power ready to go. Run8 has a very,
so in
very
that case,
good variety of
yeah,
diesel
we got a Trinity
locomotives.
Canyon. Needs to go to the SEMA sub. Where would I send that through? Because I would hop over at Highland. No. Yes.
Are you talking UP 5383? Or yeah.
I'm looking at that's at Long Beach. I'm looking at 7697.
Damn it.
Okay, yeah, that would go down to CP Silverwood and then go up that way. Because if you were to go towards Mojave, it would be going the wrong way.
Yeah. Okay, so in that case, it would have trackage rights because it has to get.
Yes, it would have trackage rights between Silverwood and the other place. Daggett.
All right.
Yermo, whatever. Oh man, we lose one person, gain another one.
$75.52. Where's that? It's got corrupt something.
Stack train running through here. Got some guys down here moving some power around in the yard. Just get things squared away. The ops are going quite well. We have 2 dispatchers. Yeah.
You came in just in time to miss the server reboot we just had to do.
Oh yeah, I did that, and my FPS is so much better now.
Mine's not, but that's because my FPS is never good in a yard.
I'm probably getting like 20 or 30 FPS.
I'm sitting at 20.
Oh no, I lied. I'm at 15.
My mic's been muted. Western Pacific 3589 in dispatch.
See.
It's a lot better than because I was getting like 4.
No.
I'm sitting in 20. I'm in the LA area. That's pretty good for LA area. I mean, because I have all Hobart loaded and everything right now.
That is Western Pacific 3589. I'm sitting just south of the Hobart Tower at the Diamonds. I need headroom across the Diamonds to shove back into the industrial park.
40 in Barstow's pretty good.
That 40 in Barstow's damn impressive, honestly.
You also have to remember, my computer is keeping track of 12,828 total units in the world, whereas for you guys, you're only keeping track of what in 20-mile radius of you.
Yeah, and my computer's just freaking old.
I'm getting around 50.
You're shoving into Hobart from the Diamonds, correct?
No, I need headroom across the Diamonds to push back into the industry south of the Diamonds.
Okay.
She's right there.
Are you coming out of? Let's see here.
You'll see me in the block in just a second. I'm passing your restricting signal.
The lunar I just threw up.
Well, it's a flash in red, but yeah, same thing.
Okay. And then you're shoving elsewhere.
I'm shoving back the way I came.
Okay.
He just needs room to go. I think down this track probably.
Oh, you're working weeds again. The weed local main, just across the river. Yeah. Yep, I'm just
Jen's
over
down
in
here working the
LIJ
grain elevator.
West Branch.
Awesome.
That's a really fun
see.
local to run over here in the LIJ West Branch.
Oh, we got someone working Bakersfield.
71. It's a fun local.
Comrit's working. Comrit Gilles is working Bakersfield. I can see him doing some switching
I enjoy
here.
all the LIJ locals actually. They're all pretty fun.
Oh, I got a UP train sitting right here.
Just a whole lot of mess. That's what this is.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Why do we have a BNSF grain train going through BNSF Bakersfield Amtrak?
You know, I was wondering that.
It's been sitting there for a while. It just.
Oh, you know what? Is that what was up there? Because I noticed that earlier tonight, but I just didn't have time to go look at it at any point.
Yeah. I think somebody. I don't
Somebody
know,
reversed
they might
the
have
switch
switched
that they
it.
shouldn't have reversed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
somebody just didn't know what they were doing whenever they're
even
just
though there's
back.
an arrow pointing, but you know. All right.
Because reasons.
Okay, so.
You put too many L's in that.
Okay.
Look at these Amtrak. That's the Amtrak station. Freight trains don't go through there.
Headed.
I mean, I'm up for riding in some grain hoppers. How about you guys? Let's get on the green train, everyone. Let's go.
Hey, I posted that one picture up of the UP freight now servicing LA Union Station.
Yeah, somebody routed a freaking freight train into LA Station. Look,
There's
only
actually-
I'm allowed to be drunk on
There
the
was
server.
actually 2 of them, by the way.
They're making the freight hopping really easy these days.
Yeah, it's like, I was double checking. It's like, they're not boxcars, right? Okay. That's saying something else if they're boxcars.
Well, no, even if you don't have the Amtrak set, you still get Amtrak cars for the defaults.
No, they're boxcars.
Oh, they are boxcars. They used to be default cars.
Yeah.
Sorry, no, I meant real boxcars. There's an implication there, guys. You're not drawing on, so it's okay.
Are you over there with those Heritage ones? Are you over there with those Heritage One ST40s, Yoda?
Yeah. I have a Heritage 1 SD40 and then 2 GT40s.
Got about another half hour of the stream, and then at least be ending the stream, and the app session will continue until 11 or whatever.
Alright, here we go. Starting the hump again. Let's see if this works. Stay stable.
Oh, I had one car go down 150. A bunch of cars go down. I need to figure out what cars these are. Oh, FRS and Bell. So yeah, those cars should be and win.
At least Needles kind of takes care of itself.
Yeah, Needles and Seligman are just all fleeted. You shouldn't really have to worry about them too much. Unless you want to do it manually yourself, which means your dispatcher you can.
Now visible on one stream inside of external dashboard. Thank God!
I need to get the external DS on, actually. That's what I need to do right now.
The update is so beautiful.
Is that CAD program still in development?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it being developed, or is it?
Yes, it is. They're in a closed beta right now. They went in a closed beta like last August, but I don't know, but I'd imagine that they are probably getting close to release, and then the Bakersfield sub release. Now they have to put all that in.
Yeah, but I don't. I guess I complain about it because it's not like they actually have to create physics and shit. It's like
Heritage unit. Okay.
It's graphical displays.
Yeah, but it's making all the displays and making sure that they function in game. It's making sure that the software can communicate with the other software.
Yeah, it also has a lot of new features, as in actual scripts that you can do in the dispatcher.
Well, and on top of that, since the devs don't give out early versions of Run8 to many people, if any, they the guy developing TSCAD probably didn't have access to Bakersfield stuff to make sure he could make it work. How do you? I'm reading the rules. What's a heritage unit?
I don't really imagine they.
How do you get the car tags to show above the cars? It's Control F8 twice. So the first time it's going to turn on the unit number, so UP8692. Second time it's going to tell you the tag, and then the third time it's going to turn it off.
This switch, this ID number as this status, and vice versa.
It's not that easy.
Because if they're doing something else, then
their software has to communicate with the Run8 software, and because if you don't know the switch IDs, you can't make the program communicate.
I understand that, but I also understand that TSCAD has been planned to be payware. It was my understanding that they were supposed to be working closer together because of that.
They have, as far as I can tell, they haven't.
But even without Bakersfield, if it's hopefully the rest of it would be getting done.
He probably like Darth Theoda said, he probably had it mostly done, and then Bakersfield sub dropped without warning, like always, and
Release it without Bakersfield.
yeah, he does. He probably doesn't want to release it without Bakersfield. He doesn't want to release an incomplete product.
Which I can understand because
Well, of course, a Heritage
that's
Unit
one
set.
of his promises is that it has all the routes in the game. You know.
Trying to find a Heritage Unit so I can show you what one is.
Website, which still hasn't been updated.
But UP did a
have
special
records
set
and
of units. They
Practically
do like
everything
the
but
commemorative
LA and
different
Bakersfield.
units. And
you can
there's
see
a couple
LA
in
is
Run
coming.
8 that can be
The
utilized.
etching in has started for the LA stuff.
But see, TSCAD has a lot more advanced features than External Dispatcher does.
It's basically
From what we know, from what we know right now, it does at least. I mean, he's done like a live stream on his Facebook page before that like shows like the product that he had like as of like a year ago or so.
I've seen it. Like I
mean,
think
it looks,
Sean
it
uses
looks
it.
pretty
I think
amazing.
It's close beta, and it looks really good. So
Did all of our Heritage Units go missing again?
probably.
Probably, yeah.
I don't even know where they are because I don't have the payware. So
I'm just gonna spawn one in and just to check.
will Run8 only allow one of the heritage units at a time, or will it spawn multiple until you turn them off?
If you spawn multiple, what it'll do is it will check the numbers, and if that number's already existing, it won't spawn that one in. So yeah, UP, the SP unit, the Southern Pacific Daylight one, that's what, 1997?
96.
96. So yeah, that one's still out there somewhere. That was a Heritage unit. I just spotted
I actually caught a glimpse of that engine on a trip to St. Louis. I looked out the window, saw what was clearly the Daylight Southern Pacific unit, and then it was gone in a split second, and I was very disappointed.
well, so far the Hump's being stable. I think it's having problems at 2.9 or higher on the speeds.
I wouldn't go.
It's a
I'd
Cathy
never
unit,
go over 3 for the
KCS unit, but that's not technically a Heritage unit.
I mean, they said it can handle it 3.2, but I've done 2.8s and 2.9s, and
I normally
if you don't have a 3-car length, like say you have a 3-car cut first, then a 2-car cut comes after it. The 2-car cut will catch up to the 3-car cut, and I think might be something that's throwing things off.
'Cause I remember I spawned them in at
normally
random
do,
locations
like,
on the railroad.
2.7 or 2.8.
Yeah, I'm kind of a fan of 2.6, 2.7 myself.
I'm a fan of 4.0s. Oh wait, we're talking something different. Okay, the terminology you're using.
Carry on. What was that about kicking from Togepi again?
They're out there somewhere. The general rule of thumb is that we don't delete them and we don't send them off route. We keep them kind of local, so they're probably sitting somewhere in a yard.
Stop and point and do the same.
Actually, I wonder. One more place I can check.
What is down here on 115? Mod bells, FRSs. What?
That's a slough track. I'm gonna go through that later and double check some things. So don't worry about the slough track.
Oh, and then L. I don't know if this is.
Can you tell from the dispatcher screen? Yes. You go to the dispatch. I don't know if you can do it while you don't have dispatch authority, but what you do is you bring up your dispatch screen, you find the switch that you want to go to. So, let's say I wanted to go to the Amtrak station. So I could either put my mouse here or I could put it right on the dot, and then you just press spacebar. And it teleports you there.
Yeah, where's my lights? Where's my light down here?
Now I'm curious as to where those units went, but I'm not gonna worry about it. They're out there somewhere. They'll turn up. Yeah, what I did was what I did is I just flew. I went into third person in flying view like this and just flew the entire railroad. And there's another thing, and you'll notice this. You can do it. I don't know if it works on the dispatch mode or on without dispatch mode, but it works in any other mode if you don't have. With a dispatcher, a dedicated dispatcher, I don't know if it works, but if you stand, like let's say, oh, I don't know where I'm at. If I stand on this switch, as long as it's a CTC switch with a switch box like this, if I stand on it and press F3,
Okay, things are moving. Things are moving.
it will actually flash the switch I'm standing in. You can see this one right here is flashing purple.
I don't
That's
know what's
telling me I'm
going on,
standing
but
on
I
that
did
one.
something, and now something is happening.
I just saw my train rubber band backwards.
Mayan's ping is like 300.
Oh, hey, Maine? Me?
Yeah.
Yep, that's my Fisher Price Mountain internet.
Well, upgrade to like big boy internet already. Come on. Can you even get like Pornhub on that?
Clearly not.
No, there are 2 providers in my area, and my apartment complex chooses the shitty one. Well, the shittier one.
It's not your apartment complex. It's the shittier one chooses your apartment complex. Because remember, ISPs have a monopoly.
Yeah.
I can speak authoritatively on these subjects.
Don't you work for an ISP?
I am a former owner of an ISP.
Oh, so yeah, when I sit there and shit on ISPs, you can back me up.
As of March 21st, or March 31st, 2019.
So when you sold the company, Sani, when you sold the company, what are you buying us?
You guys see anything?
Not even a 6-pack? Come on, bro.
I had debts to pay, which all got taken care of.
You know, the last person now who I knew sold something on the internet, you know what they ended up buying? They bought
He didn't sell something on the internet, he sold the internet.
No, he sold his website. He sold one of his 2 websites, and he bought a 747 cockpit.
But no, you're absolutely correct. What we're encountering, like, I've been around since, 300 baud dial-up modem days. That's how long I've been in the biz, as it were. And back then, I just worked a help desk, and I did some work for the company that got recognized, and the then owner gave me an opportunity to buy into the company. It was a very tiny amount. I mean, it was mathematically, it was like under 1% of the company. But over the years, it's translated. That amount has grown, and eventually was the majority shareholder of the company. Was all said and done, and the company still exists. So it's not like the company's going away. It's just business partners that decided to agree to buy me out. Go. So. But no, yeah, I mean, you're absolutely correct. Our state's like a microcosm of the United States and as a whole. And so you have rurals versus the big cities. You can definitely see, the digital divide between rural area access and city access. And even in city access for us, I mean, we have big cities, but they're not as big as like the coast. They're not as condensed, the population per square mile sort of thing. So you definitely saw some services and such go to the bigger cities first for obvious reasons. I mean, these companies got to make money. At the end of the day, if they're not making money, they can't do anything. They can't invest. They can't do nothing. So you have to start from the proposition that it's like they need to make money in order to be able to invest in all this stuff. The biggest problem now is the cost of entry into the business is prohibitive. So it's extremely difficult for somebody who does not have deep pockets to actually start up a new ISP, because you almost have to go with fiber. You can't do obviously you can't do dial-up modems and those kinds of things, and so you can't work on economies of scale like you could with dial-up modems. We could have 200 customers and service them with 40 modems, because not everybody's on at the same time. That paradigm has just no longer exists. So it's all physical infrastructure, and in various places, some places you have to deal with burying the lines everywhere. Other places will allow you to do them above ground and below ground, and that affects the cost structures and everything. So, but yeah, fiber. But now everybody needs, this is the misnomer of what people actually need. It's like gig service is great. It's kind of the buzzword right now. But the truth is, most home families only need about 100, maybe 150 max. And the truth is, most of them get away with 50. Just most people don't know it. Because it's all math. It's like, what are you actually streaming? All right, full HD service. All right, that takes about 6 meg or something like that to do a full HD. I think it's even less than that. I think it's actually more like 3 meg. But if you have 10 devices, you need 30 meg. So it's just basic math. But what you run into is the problem with customer service, and that's the thing everybody's pissed off about. And so you end up with these duopolies, and most places, pretty normal city areas, are going to have the incumbent phone company and the incumbent cable company. The problem is the cable company's infrastructure was built from the ground up to service high bandwidth because of cable service itself, the analog signals. So their infrastructure was in a better position to give us higher speeds to start with. So when they got in the game, they were able to do 15 and 20 meg services without too many issues. And the phone company had to play catch up, because the phone company actually had to operate under both regulated and unregulated issues. It was crazy. But yeah, but you do see places where Google Fiber comes in, costs go drastically down when you have an actual third competitor come in, and that's the real. From my perspective, I'm a free market person. Getting real competition to these areas is what keeps net neutrality from having to be an actual regulated thing of the industry. It's like, if you don't like your service provider, and you have the ability to hop to a different provider, then that incentivizes the providers to behave well.
But from my understanding, in some areas, like big cities, like the city I live in, the providers actually agree not to provide I'll one provider will be like, all right, I'll take this side of town and this zip, this block of streets and side of town, and you take this, and you don't provide service to me, and I won't provide service to your area.
Yeah, except that's usually not on competing methods of service. This is the problem with the definition of competition. It's being defined as method of delivery, not who is actually doing the delivery. But you are correct that what you'll see is sort of a unwritten gentleman's agreement that Comcast doesn't go into Time Warner's territory, and Time Warner doesn't go into Comcast territory, but they will eat the phone company's service, right? So, because they don't want to cannibalize each other and end up in a big war. I mean, it's absolutely crazy that true competition, if it was real, Comcast should have been coming into Time Warner territory, and Time Warner should have been going into Comcast territory. It's just that simple. It would have brought down cable costs probably, but certainly brought down internet costs.
Sounds an awful lot like railroads.
Yeah. Well, railroads, they have their own things too. I mean, it's not such a dissimilar thing. I mean, you got to build rail and all that stuff too. So it is an expensive process to start up new services and things. But with cable, now we know that when a fiber company goes in, they take a chunk. So now you're going to kind of split the customer base essentially into thirds, as opposed to half and half. Although really it's more like 60-40, because the cable companies had such a mental point in people's minds. It's like, if you got internet, who'd you call? Your local cable company. That's the mind share was something like 80% for the cable companies. It was ridiculously high. You know, but there are some interesting technologies coming. Between the 5G networks, which may or may not work out. If I'm ready that there might be some technical issues with them. But then Elon Musk is playing with that satellite technology to actually improve the quality of satellite internet and to bring gig service to satellite internet. And knowing what they're trying to do, it looks very interesting and possibly a promising solution. To truly bring internet access to the rural areas. This would be the actual solution, because that's the problem in rural areas. Bringing gig fiber service to rural areas is an expensive proposition and probably has a ROI period that's just super high. I mean, we didn't look at doing it ourselves because we knew the costs were so high, but holy crap, it was up there.
I live in a pretty good definition of geographic isolation. I live in a mountain valley.
Yeah.
With.
I live in a valley surrounded by mountains.
So, but there's been some good choices along the ways. Like some cities got tired of the incumbents not doing anything, and so they decided to form, their own, ISPs and stuff that were funded by the taxpayers themselves. And I think in the big cities, traditional competition will solve the problems. It's the rural areas that have the biggest problem with the digital divide. And it'll be things like cell phone service, like 5G service, the satellite service, but there may be some other solutions in there too that might need a public-private partnership, to make those things happen, to bring that kind of service into those areas. It seems to be about the only practical way to do it, because if you leave it to just for profit, it'll be really hard to see some of these technologies reach into truly rural areas. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where these technologies go in the next 3 to 5 years.
Did I just accidentally turn the hump controller off?
I don't think so.
Because I went to go open to check it, and it was like, hump controller's turned off. I'm like, uh-oh.
No, that's because I'm controlling it right now.
So my units are doing that glitch where they don't want to develop power that I usually have to restart Run8 for, so I think I'm just going to call it a night and finish this local in the morning.
And yeah, I'm curious to see where technologies go and where real competition goes in. There are some misnomers with net neutrality. It's one of those things that when it was passed, I thought it was very bad law when it was passed, mainly because net neutrality was not very well defined. There was like 7 different definitions for net neutrality, and it kind of took the debate after it was passed to actually sort of get a consensus as to what net neutrality means. But by then, the laws were in place, the regulations were in place, and people were just up in arms. So it's like, look, your internet hasn't gone away. You still have access to everything, despite the net neutrality rules being repealed, as they were. So, but I think better law can be made from it now. So if we get into those, but I've also thought for the longest time, the threat of bringing down the hammer of regulation was a far better deterrent than actually implementing the rules, because the second you implement the rules, it allows them to find their ways around the rules, to find the loopholes that are in it. But there's certainly other issues too, like the big backbone providers. It's like, oh, they're transporting all stuff. Yeah, hello, you're the backbone provider. You're the roadways for it all. So, charge the people more. I mean, if YouTube is chewing up more of your services, then charge YouTube more money for providing that backbone service. It's that simple, guys. It's not hard. Charge the people who are actually using it, not your end customers. Your end customers are paying you, already.
It's a little hot in my room. I'm like, oh no, I'm dying.
Well, I need to call it a night. I'm about to fall asleep.
Good night.
Good night, y'all.
Good night. But we saw it here. An actual third provider came into town, and holy crap, I mean, the changes that happened overnight, both in the home market and in the business markets, were incredible, just simply incredible. So, give an actual real alternative for people, and it'll make a difference. If a city has like two good incumbents, then that could be a good thing, you know. But the problem is most places had two bad incumbents that weren't incentivized to upgrade their networks or do anything more to service the customers really, and to improve the conditions. Which they would eventually get around to it. It just would have been a lot longer to get to them because they want to service the big cities first and recoup those costs as quickly as possible, which I can't fault them for. Again, it's business. You gotta make the money so you can reinvest that money into the business. But yeah, real competition that changes priorities.
Yeah, well, it is 10 o'clock. I'm going to end the stream. I'll just be back in a second. Alright, so yeah, it is 10 o'clock. I'm just going to roll the credits. I'd like to thank Quasi for the subscription and the follow. Adventure Boy, thanks for the follow as well. Thanks everyone for tuning in, being here, asking the questions, being part of this. It's been a pleasure. We'll be back at Run8 next Friday with another Run8 op session. There will not be a stream tomorrow night. Follow me on Twitter at KazakF. We'll find out what I'll be streaming Sunday night, though. Most likely some community game that I can get some of you guys involved with as well. But until then, I will see you guys all later. Kaz, out.